right, guys, welcome back to the All Gains podcast. We're back and better than ever. All right, let's have the guests introduce themselves. Tell us who you are and what do you bring to the universe.
Oh, the universe. Well, I bring a lot to you. My name is Joshua Fink. I am the author of the poetry book, The Bones of Madness. I am a performer, writer, an all-around interest in fucking cat. And that's what's going on. And over here.
Hello, my name is Kait. I was sold into slavery to this homicidal maniac, and I am here against my will. I'm an artist. I have a bachelor's degree in fine art. Woo. And I'm a painter. I do a little bit of everything. I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, no, you put up that painting on the easel right there. I actually like that. It looks nice.
Yeah, I did that when I was still in school, but it's one of my favorite things that I have ever done. I'm not very precious about my work, but that's one that I've always
that's what I was telling him earlier, is like we
liked.
don't have a lot of stuff from you because most of your recent stuff has been commissioned, so you don't own it anymore.
The good part about that is I got money
Yeah.
coming in.
Money.
The bad part is I have nothing to show you. So maybe in post-production I can send you some files. And
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we'll put it up on
always
the screen as well,
Yeah,
so they'll be able
I'll
to
put
see
up
right
a whole
now.
bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I have photos of those things. Thankfully, they are gone and making me money. So
Yeah,
There you go.
That's the important part.
that
Right.
is the important part. Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes doing the art form like this, like poetry, even fiction writing, painting, like it's sometimes like for someone who's like starting out or even who's been grinding in the like the local scene, sometimes it's hard to make that money. You can't. You know, sometimes you
Absolutely,
can't be like a
absolutely.
Stephen King or someone like that. Not everybody's gonna be that way, but
Right.
you know, sometimes you can.
Not enough Coke.
Yeah, definitely not enough. Definitely not enough Coke. But you can always get a little something here and there. It makes it worth it.
Yeah.
But
How'd you guys meet, actually?
Ooh, well,
The dynamic duo.
it was a friend of a friend type of thing. I don't remember the first time she saw me, but I remember the first time I saw her. I had recently been released from a mental facility, and I was wearing ridiculous like paper pants or whatever, and I was sitting at a friend's house, and she came in and she's like, "Hi, how are you?" And we had a nice conversation. That was the first time we met.
He said I had nice cheekbones, and it was
did say
over
that.
from there.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just started kind of hanging out, just platonically, at least in my opinion. I didn't realize that I was being groomed.
I had an agenda from the
She
start.
had an agenda, and then she ensnared
All good women
me.
do.
Ensnared, and now I'm stuck in it.
Yeah, I think it's really, I love it when people meet in person because, like in today's generation, most people just meet online. You know?
Right.
Which
We
is-
do have that going for us. We did not meet through
I like
a
that
dating
better
app.
because I think that's so
Yeah.
much more authentic.
Yeah,
And
there's
me
no-
personally, like if I saw a girl at shop, right, I'm going up to her, I'm gonna say hi. Like I don't care.
Sure,
You put the bread down. Let me talk to you real quick. Like that's kind of like where I'm at.
I think women appreciate that too.
Yeah, because no one has the
you
balls
can
to do
be
that.
anything online. That's the thing about online dating. You can pretend
Yeah.
to be all kinds of things.
You could, and
I've got a
in
few
any
good
era
stories,
online,
actually.
you don't know who's a phony, you don't know who's real. Like
Yeah.
people could I
Lying
can go
about
on
their
the-
height and
Yeah, I can go on the internet right now and I can say, oh, I've done this, I've done this,
Yeah.
I've done this. In reality, I'm just some guy in my mom's basement. I'm all this shit. And now I have a cult following of thousands of subscribers and they think I'm this all-powerful cult leader. But I'm just some guy in the basement talking some shit. So the internet can be very misleading and I would...
New Jersey douchebag.
I recommend people to do their research before they,
Oh, yeah.
get angry in the comment section.
Oh yeah.
So...
yeah, you just
Yeah.
never know who you're gonna meet. I met him that first night. I think we had met previously, but that was just the first time that we actually spent quality time together, even though he was coming off of a mental health
Yeah,
stay.
it's called the Bones of Madness for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
There-
shit ain't right up here.
Yeah. And
But
I
I
love
wear it
that.
really well.
So yeah, he does. That's what drew me to him. I love crazy. So
So you made the first move, right?
No.
Really?
I told you she was very she was the pursuer. I was just chilling, and I was like, I got a new buddy. We drive around places, go to the fucking mall, play fucking mini golf, whatever, and it became apparent over time that she had some designs that I wasn't focused on at the moment. I've been in a very long-term relationship, and I wasn't really looking for anything like that, and my life was not in line to
Entertain
to
anyone.
pursue any type of relationship of any kind.
Right.
You know, I wasn't really looking.
That's how it
at
is. Things just come to you when you're
anybody
not
in
looking
that
for it.
way. And then she
Yeah.
kind of was just like, asshole, I'm trying to like be with you. What the fuck are you
Mike
not
can
getting?
relate.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that. Too. I could definitely relate to that. That's really funny. I was just actually what's funny was my now wife. Before we even started dating, we hung out like a couple times because we had mutual friends.
Sure.
But there was one time where she messaged me on Facebook and she was like,
So she was a pursuer.
yeah, and she was like, hey, if you want to like go out and do something sometime, like we should do it. And I was like, yeah, let's get all the guys, let's go, let's get everybody to go.
He friend zoned her. Yeah.
I just like it just went right over my head. I was not paying attention. You know, not
Yeah, let's get Andrew.
yeah. I was
Sometimes you
seeing
just
the
need
forest.
to be a little forward.
So technically, I made the first move, but I didn't know it because we hung out at our friends Jason and Kara's home. We slept over, drinks were had, people slept on couches, things went down.
Yeah.
And then I had suggested the next day because we both had off and it was like our first bonding experience. Like, why don't we go fucking do something tomorrow? We'll go hang out. Like, you're off, I'm off, let's go do something. And she got very datey vibes off of this thing that I was not trying to project. So technically, I made the first move, and I
unintentionally.
I
made
went
the
on a
first
date
move.
that I didn't know I was on.
All right, hold on though, because there's some very important context here
Go
that I
ahead,
feel
darling, go
that I
ahead.
feel is missing.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
So the night previous, obviously we had met before. I show up to my friend's house in Asbury Park, and who is there but this gentleman?
I am there
And
in all my glory.
my friend at the time, we were trying to be conspicuous about it.
I know where you're going with this.
And I said, I like that. And she goes, oh, really? And I said, I like that. And she very tactlessly decided to immediately go tell him that. And so I don't think he was really, like he said, he wasn't really pursuing anything of that nature. But when we did finally hang out that next day, he decided to play Smokey Robinson cruising
Oh, man.
in the car. Okay. So was it a date? I think so.
I think.
So.
I
You don't
think.
play a lady cruising,
All right.
and you're
well,
not feeling something. You know.
So
it's cruising.
I like Smokey Robinson, and I also enjoy being lusted after a little bit. So that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, he's very
Because I am
vain.
a vain son of a bitch. I used to be like a really hot guy. Now I'm 38 and I got a beer gut, and things are going wrong
It's okay.
as time goes on. But I used to be quite a looker, and it was very enjoyable. It was a good time in my life. My 20s were all right.
So how'd you get into like poetry and writing and all that?
Oh, okay. Well, I've always been writing. Ever since a little kid, I was always doing it. My father kind of groomed me into doing it. He would assign me books or chapters of books like to read for the week or whatever, and he would actually test me on them at the end of the week.
So was he like a mentor to you?
He basically I feel like it was never stated this way directly to me, but I feel like the whole idea was like I was supposed to be a writer. I burn out my brain with booze and drugs, and I knocked up your mom when I was 22, and my life. Yeah, you're right. And I kind of like fucked up the trajectory of my life. But I know you've got that gene and that talent, so I'm gonna pull that out of you and push you in that direction. I think that's what the whole thing was.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always writing. I was reading, and having literature like forced upon me. So that was a big element of it. But it was just a natural thing. His mother was a writer. She was a really brilliant poet, actually. It's organic. It's Irish thing. It's fucking Irish, depressed, drunken, sad writer guy. I am a stereotype.
He fits the bill well.
It came out of that, and but the performance thing started. It was actually kind of funny. I have a long-term friend who I love dearly, Michael Pasquarelli. We were hanging out one night. Probably like 2003, 2004 or 5, something like that. And he was going through my notebooks and he saw one of these pieces that I'd written. It was very rhyme heavy with a lot of compound rhyme and interesting rhythms. And he's like, this is not just a piece of poetry. This is performance art. Like this is a piece of performance art. You should be on stage doing this. I was like, yeah, I don't know about any of that. I was just kind of experimenting with things because I was listening to a lot of hip hop and rap at the time. And I was, I'd never really tried to write anything like that. And, I was like, I have no intentions on aspiring to be a rapper or anything, but the idea of playing with that type of rhyme was very fascinating to me, and I had a very natural gift for it. I was like, I didn't even know that I had that, because I never tried to write that way. So I was playing with it a lot at the time, and so there was an open mic at this place that no longer exists in Tom's River, the Java Joint. It was very popular, open mic. It was always crowded. You couldn't go in and sign up because it was so popular that the list was already full. The time slots were already full. You had to call in and book yourself a slot if you were gonna do anything. So we used to go a lot because I hung out with lots of musician friends. My friend Matt Fisher, my friend Keith McCarthy, brilliant musicians, guitar players, and we would go and support them. And the one time we were driving up there all together, sitting in the back seat, and Michael goes, "Oh, by the way, you're like 4th on the list. You're going up tonight." I'm like, "You motherfucker! I'll break your fucking nose." He's like, "Yeah, you're on the chalkboard, dude. You're doing it." So I went up and shaking and nervous and all that, but I was like, I'm committed to it, and I got into it, and I fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since. It's been 20 years.
How about you? How'd you get into all the art and all of that?
Well, I am an only child, and growing up, cheers.
Cheers to that.
Growing up, I was a very serious little girl, and I liked to hang out with the adults, and I preferred their company to children. I found children very annoying, and so I spent a lot of time on my own, and in doing so, I guess I was just exposed to a lot more television because obviously I didn't have anyone to play with. So art media was a very important part of my upbringing because that's kind of what took the place of a friend or a sibling to annoy me or entertain me for hours. So I guess I got really into cartoons, Japanese cartoons, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z. That was big for me growing up, and I would start doodling stuff of that nature. So obviously it started before that. I was always coloring, drawing, actually my grandmother would buy me Disney coloring books, and instead of just coloring the book, I would cut out the princesses and make paper dolls out of them, and I would dress them up and make clothes for them and parade them around, and I was just a very weird kid.
That sounds creative, but it also sounds like something a sociopath.
A murderer would do. Yeah. I made my own friends, but it's just it's just anything I could do to create things, and so I kept drawing all throughout elementary school. I would take out how to draw books from the library. And at first I would trace them because I didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, my stuff looked bad for a child. It was good, but, it wasn't good enough for me. So after a while, I didn't have to trace anymore. And my mother would say, "Oh, you're tracing. This isn't you." And I was like, "No, Mom, I don't have to trace anymore. I know how to draw now." And it just continued from there. Josh was doing a poor job of...
I was told that I had to keep the label of this bottle out of the camera's eye, but now that bottle is empty, so we don't have to worry about that one.
Anyway,
so we have more.
I'm gonna do that too. Don't you fucking try and stop me.
So it started from childhood, early on, and it was something that I excelled in. I just continued with it, and for a long time, I didn't know what I would do with it. I just knew that I had to keep doing it. And, got to high school and I was in all the AP art classes, and my teacher asked, what do you want to do? I said, I guess I want to go to art school. I don't have I'm not good at anything else. I need to do art. I have to go. I didn't even go in wanting a career out of it. I just went because that's all I had. Let's say this is who I am.
She's a talented bitch.
I'm a talented and a bitch. It's true. But yeah, so that same art teacher who was supposed to be like the lady to usher me into my future. Told me I'd never get into my dream school, and then I did.
I love when people tell me that. I love that.
Yeah. And it wasn't like you're not gonna get in to like motivate me. She really told me like, you're not getting in. You'll never get in there.
Those are the best motivators, aren't they?
I don't know. I just thrive on spite.
I like revenge. I'm a big fan of it.
I'm with you. Yeah, I feel like
you're singing her song right now. She loves.
I love to sing.
She loves
Yeah.
revenge films. She
Yes.
she relishes when like something goes wrong. She feels like somebody has wronged her. In her
I believe
life,
in justice.
and
Yeah.
she sees some shit go down karmically with him. She's like, yeah,
you don't always
motherfucker.
have to step in. Sometimes the universe does it for you. I did bring her the acceptance letter, and she was not impressed, which was very lackluster. It was a lackluster ending to that little confrontation. But I got in, and I graduated. I have a bachelor's degree, and it taught me a lot about how to be not only a real, educated artist, but how to speak like one as well, and how to sell yourself, which is, I think, essential. You can be the greatest artist ever, but if you can't talk to people, if you're kind of a pussy, you're never gonna meet the right people. You're never gonna put yourself in the situations that you need to be to excel as an artist. So
Yeah, because you have to have some sort of social intelligence too. Like you gotta
something, man.
Yeah,
you know.
especially for like artists, because all you really can do is just sell what you have. Like the craft is what you put down, and then you got that. Now you got to sell that. You got to say this is the best shit like out there right now. You gotta that's how you gotta sell it to them, and sometimes they'll actually enjoy it. Sometimes it's not what they wanted, but that's
you
what's
gotta
great
make a
about
commodity
art.
of yourself. You gotta
Yes.
you have to create your own value essentially. Is what
And what's great about art is like it's like art is not for everybody. Like certain people like might love this painting, but some people might not.
Yeah.
It's really up to that person's eye.
Of course, it's all
Right.
subjective.
Yeah, it's all subjective art, but I love that. I love like sometimes I love things that people don't like, and sometimes I do it without realizing that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I actually do like certain things. Like someone can go, I can see this for the first time, and someone that was standing there looking at it and be like, I don't like this. And I was like, what do you mean? Look at it. Look, I love the shading and all this stuff. I could just say like a whole bunch of stuff, and they'll just look at me like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah. No, I deal with that a lot with like the poems like that I'll choose to perform or whatever. Like I'm like, this is the fucking good one. I'm doing this one tonight. This is the shit. And then like the other day I had her do my set list for me. And she's like, no, these are the ones you should be doing. Like do this one. You never do this one. You never do this one. I'm like, because why would I do that one? And then I did the set and knocked it out of the fucking park. And he was like, that was great. I was like, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about apparently. I don't know which fucking poems.
I am here for a reason. It's not just to look good. It's I contribute to the cause. But no, I think especially with art and there's a connection between art and the writing, the poetry, the performance art. If it's not striking enough, it could fall flat.
Yeah.
So this is actually just it was more of like a practice, and I think art as a whole should be practice. You're never really the best. You're never going to be the best. Like your art, your poetry, it's always changing, ever growing.
Well, yeah, it's always about the vision of the artist.
Yeah, and I think
Absolutely.
for something to become precious, almost kills it. So like you could set that on fire right now, and I wouldn't care. I'd be like, all right, well, now I have one less thing to bring to an interview and show people. But I'll just have to make a few more. I don't think that
I did that. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. You just reminded me. My first like 3 notebooks of poetry I had in high school, I burnt them in my mother's backyard because I was so embarrassed by them. And I was like, if anybody finds these,
They won't.
I've destroyed quite a few of my things. My mother hoarded a lot of my like childhood art, which now as an adult I can appreciate. But yeah, like if it becomes too precious, it will start to hold you back. I had that experience a lot in school where they would do things like this. This is meant to be an exercise, meant to teach you something, right? It's a practice. It's a workshop, let's say, for writing. Yeah. You're here to learn. You're not here because you're the best. And people would get really offended if someone, critiqued it too harshly, or God forbid, your teacher would draw on your stuff. or paint on your stuff, and they would get really butthurt about it. And it was like, hold on. This person is a successful artist. Now they're a teacher. They're teaching at a very prestigious art school, one that benefits from being the neighbors to another much more expensive art school, in that some of those teachers would come for like some extra cash, you know, and teach at our little rinky-dink school, while this other $50K a semester school is right down the road. So you had the opportunity to talk to these well-established artists, and to sit there and think for 1 second that your silly little practice painting, drawing, whatever, was more important than what this person was trying to teach you. It always astounded me. I never cared.
I
Paint all
appreciate
over
the
it.
angle you're talking. Like I what you're saying. I appreciate that, but I could also totally see myself getting really fucking pissed off if I was painting something and the teacher was like, "Let me." I could see myself going red, like just seeing red.
I mean,
like in the middle of doing it, yeah.
it can't be precious because it's meant to teach you something.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from, but I could totally see myself being one of those people you're talking about.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
I suppose I can understand a painting, but a drawing, it's just a drawing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a doodle. It's just a life drawing. This was a life drawing. We had a nude model, and then we had a skeleton beside.
I
I was
like-
about to say that's really nude.
Oh, I like the sound of
Very
that.
new.
Yeah, I didn't.
Some
really,
Titanic.
I didn't
See
really
ribcage.
realize him because I didn't think that this required it. But this was just, you know.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Can you interpret this for us? Like, what made you? What inspired you to draw it? What you had in mind? What do you think it means?
I don't really think it needs to mean anything. I think you can impose, you know, some kind of perhaps, you know, this large round man, like he's empty because he's missing his skeleton. I don't know, whatever. I don't get like personal with art like that.
Okay.
I think all I was thinking at the time was I love how full this man is and how spatially, you know, you can see through the skeleton. You can feel how warm the lighting is in this. You know, even though the skeleton is obviously it's more of a cooler tone than this round red man that's standing naked before me.
I was about to ask you, was
happens.
he hanging dong?
He was fully nude.
It's natural.
You get really used to seeing a lot of naked people at art school.
Cool.
Titanic.
I might have to check that out.
Right,
actually.
it's like the
Yeah.
most expensive strip club you'll ever go to.
Well, listen, it was mostly unattractive men and
Ah, damn it. Never mind. I'm sorry to
beautiful
hear that.
women, very, very beautiful women.
All right, cool. That's all that matters
It's
to me.
funnily enough, a lot of those women had very severe scars. And I found it very interesting. And I almost wondered if perhaps that they were doing the nude modeling to kind of overcome a discomfort with themselves. Because the one lady, she had a scar from her belly button down. And it looked like maybe she had had a hysterectomy or perhaps even an early C-section. They used to cut you like that. But she didn't seem ashamed or uncomfortable at all. It was very
If you're
impactful to
if you're
see
gonna stand
her.
there for hours on end and get painted in front of a bunch of people naked, you're probably pretty comfortable with yourself.
You would
I wouldn't
think that.
mind.
You
I
would
could lose
think
a couple of
that,
pounds and
but
I'll do that.
you know, it was really. I got to, you know, as a sheltered only child, seeing a bunch of naked people all the time was a little like, whoa, at first. Like,
I'm going to art school.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I bear. I mean,
It's locked in.
I'm going to that debt. That's it. I've convinced myself.
I'm indebting myself.
maybe pick a school that brings in a lot of money because I don't know if a school like I wouldn't go to the Ocean County College life life
Right.
drawing classes.
Yeah, you probably go somewhere like close to Hollywood because you'll get all those people.
I'll just go to San Diego. whatever.
Yes,
You'll
yes.
Get well, New York too. You get the
Yeah.
you get the actresses who are like, this is my side hustle until I make it.
No.
I'm like, oh, you're making it, girl.
The one last thing
I'll
I'll
give you a
say-
contract later. Yeah.
the one last thing I'll say about the nude models that was kind of funny is like the women were always very professional and still, perfectly still. This guy would, while you're painting him, do this.
I feel that.
And we were like, bro,
Like in the painting.
those kids who would scream
He's
and
got a
like
turkey sub
have
in the other
nerd
hand.
meltdowns about
What?
Right.
What's the matter?
munching on a sub.
One bite?
the kids that were really like precious with their stuff would get so upset because they'd be like, the hand isn't in the same position. What am I gonna do? And I would just be like, all right, well, I guess I'm just not painting that arm today. Like, this is not gonna happen, you know. So yeah, he was funny.
It looks like you never got around to the arms. I guess you just decided no.
I didn't think it needed it.
Now you don't get arms, motherfucker. How you like that?
You know, it's like sometimes people create things and they expect somewhere in their mind for everyone to like what they've created. But in reality, nothing you make is going to be liked by everyone. Talk to any director who's made a movie. They knew that, okay,
Absolutely.
some critics might be harsh at this, but a lot of people are going to like this. That's what it's really about. Not only is it for you, but you're directing it towards, because you know you're not going to be able to hit every single mind the same, but you just hit the ones that you can. That's a good way to approach life, I think.
No, we do. Like, there's definitely a lot of that. We try to share things with each other, especially cinematically, because I consider myself something of a cinephile, and she's really interested in like a lot of the Asian cinematic art type of stuff that I'm not really familiar with. So she'll share some of that with me from time to time, and I try to introduce her to some things that maybe she didn't give any credence to growing up. And I'll give her a glimpse of something, and she's like, you know what, I was ignorant to not pay attention to this, and I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, but yeah, we exchange a lot of art together that way, experience a lot of different things, music, film, mostly film stuff, but yeah, sometimes we trade some music with each other and things like that, and it's very cool to have somebody. To be with somebody who is so analytical about different art forms and breaks things down. Like, she got me playing the game The Last of Us, which the show just premiered on HBO. I don't know if you guys watched it. It was very good.
I saw the trailer. There was a really cool epic orchestra version of Take On Me.
Yes.
I enjoyed that.
It's
I enjoyed
it's a little nod to a thing in the game, actually. It's in there.
Yeah,
But,
Take On Me appears in the second game. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
kind
great.
of carrying.
That's a
So
great
the
song.
show was. We watched the first episode. It was really good, and but you know, I had just finished the second game like just in time, and then the preview started popping up for the show, and I was like, wow, got that lined up just right. It was really good. But what I really liked about she showed me the game, but then she was really passionate about discussing it and really breaking down like the characters and their flaws and the intricacies of, like, you know, they're like, just because they're the main characters does not make them benevolent, does not make them righteous, does not make them correct about the things they're doing. They're just interesting people in the situation, and that's why they're the focal point. And she really was like breaking down like the reasons behind why people were doing things and the reasons that things are happening to them. And I was like, I'm really fascinated by how analytical she's capable of being, dissecting characters. She sounds like a writer. She dissects characters like an experienced, seasoned writer. She's very good that way. And it's very interesting to hear her take on these things. She's very good with it.
Well, in school, they prioritize, like I said, like writing was just as important as art. So obviously you're there to make something. You're there to, I don't know, maybe the illustrators specifically, they were there to, you know, maybe make art for books, children's books. That's where a lot of them go in their fields because it's marketable. The illustration department was heavy in like, how can we get you to the point where your art is so fleshed out and successful that you can just bring your portfolio to different businesses and they will hire you? How can we make you as marketable as possible? Whereas the painting department, which is what I was a part of, was more interested in partying and being really, I'm gonna paint this chair and it's gonna be the most important chair you've ever seen
important chair
in your life. I've definitely not been drinking turpentine accidentally for the last 4 years of my art career. But yeah, so speaking of that game,
that's good.
The one thing that really, like, I watch a lot of behind the scenes for everything, whether it's movies, my favorite movies, shows, games, whatever. And a point that the creators of The Last of Us had made was that in the first game, you follow two characters who are just murdering everyone that gets in their way for their own cause that you believe is just. And it is. When you get into it, you understand, like, okay, this is important. What they're trying to do is important, but they're just slaughtering anyone that gets in their way. It doesn't matter if they have a family, it doesn't matter if they're important to anyone. And vastly, the people in that game who are your aggressors have no names. In the second one, everyone has a name. Every NPC, every unimportant person, whoever you're killing, They have a name. And when they die and their bodies are found by their friends, they call out their name in anguish. So it's meant to make you feel like something was lost, that it doesn't matter, you love these characters so much. Well, there's other people in this world that are surviving, and they just lost their person. They just lost their husband, their wife, their best friend, perhaps their sibling. Like, whoever survived with them is now dead, and they're finding them, and all they want to do is kill you. And there's almost like a vindication there, like, maybe I should be dead. Like, God, what am I doing? Like, what? That's the whole point of it. And I think it's a
really lighthearted game. It's really nice.
It's not. It's very, especially the second one, but the first one is very emotionally stirring. But I think, again, like, your precious little things, like, just because they're precious doesn't mean they're benevolent. That doesn't mean they're special or important. Just because they're special and important to you, there's a whole other world outside of that little thing, of my book, my paintings, my whatever. And if I can make it stimulating or impactful in some way, even if it just grabs you for 5 minutes.
Excuse me.
Of course, it's all worth it. Yeah,
it's that's worth it to me.
Absolutely.
Then it becomes worthy of being precious.
Of course.
Yeah. See, because like I never played the second Last of Us game. I played the first one. The first one was great. Mm-hmm. But I saw a lot of the stuff from the second one, and I was like, ooh. I was like, I don't like that. But then, like, looking back at it, I was like, okay, I understand why they did this. And now that you explain it to me, it reinforces that. I never really liked that character, that main character, that technically the main character. What's her name? I don't remember.
There's Ellie and Abby.
Well, Abby. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was never really a big fan of Abby, like how her character was, but I understand why she did the things that she did. Mm-hmm. However, it didn't hurt me, but I was just like, I don't think that was a great choice. But after the game came out, like after a few months after the game came out, and I like watched everything over, and I talked to a bunch of people who played the game, it made sense on why they went that way. I just feel like the character herself wasn't the greatest, and I think that's why they did it that way. Sometimes characters, they don't need to be, perfect or like be a specific, look a specific
redeemable
way or act a specific way.
Yeah.
And I understand that. To me, it's like Abby, I feel like Abby there could have been a better version of Abby, and would have made me feel a specific way to like, wow, I was like, yes, this is how it should be. To me, Abby, how they wrote her, and how I guess the actress that was in the mocap for it and everything, I feel like how it was performed and how it was executed, to me at least in the beginning, I was just like, I don't know how I feel about that. But after a while, I was like, I can respect why Naughty Dog and the actress and whoever, like, why they did the things that they did.
Sure.
For the game. And I was like, I understand, and I will leave it at that, and I will respect it. I will respect why they did it. Like, I'm not gonna get butthurt over a video game.
No, I thought it was great.
But like,
she warned me, because I played the first one. She's like, now you're gonna play the second one. I'm warning you, like, there's like controversial shit that you're gonna spring up, and it has created like a divide amongst fans. Certain things, so be prepared for that. And I finished out the game, and she asked me what I thought about everything, and I said, I think it's just very brave writing. Like, there's a lot of brave writing to that storyline, to those plot lines, and to the development of those characters. A lot of brave writing in that. And I was even discussing with her last night after we had finally seen the first episode of the show. I was like, there, I'm not gonna say it because people who haven't played the game and people who are watching the show will get spoilers, so I won't say it exactly. But there's a very, very significant thing that happens at the very beginning of the second game, and I told her, I was like, I don't know if the TV executives are going to allow them to go forward with that plot device, because it's just not something you see in movies and TV. It's something that they're afraid to pull the trigger on, and I wonder if they will follow through with that, or if they'll have to deviate from it because they're pussies and want to fucking scoot around, something like that. But yeah, I think I thought the second one, I was more impressed with the second one, honestly. I thought it's
more daring.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of brave writing, a lot of brave ideas.
And I think it was overshadowed by all the PC talk, because there is a trans character in that game, and you're led to believe that it's Abby, but I don't believe it is. There's one trans character that you meet later on in the game, and I feel like a lot of people, oh God, get your trans out of my video game. Listen, there's been trans people since
It doesn't matter.
forever, like in the history of the fucking world, and what we can look back on in art and literature and culture.
Yeah, we're already dealing with the aftermath of them casting a black girl to play Joel's daughter in the TV in the HBO thing. I was just reading about it today.
Yeah, people.
Honestly, I didn't even know. I saw the clip, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know that even happened. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
because
she doesn't-
really
she
it doesn't matter if
to really, she doesn't matter.
You know what
She's
I
black.
mean?
She's like-
Joel is white, and so is his daughter in the game. Joel in the TV series played by Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, like
So it
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that
Sarah
was
can
just-
be any color. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, she shared something on Facebook today, and like when I woke up and I was just kind of scrolling, and I saw there's like 997 comments of this thing that she shared, and I'm like, oh Jesus! So I click
Not on
it.
my page, on the original.
Right? Yeah, she shared
Thank
it
God I don't know that many
off of
people.
that page. Yeah, but yeah, it's just all these people like, oh, why isn't she the right color? There's no right color. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
Get
it's
over
so
yourself.
stupid. Just so stupid. I posted I said something about like the color of her skin literally has no significance at all. It means
Right.
it's completely.
Yeah, people are forgetting about the Scooby Doo thing right now. I don't think it's
Oh
Velma. I don't
my
know. Some
God,
shit.
don't even get me started.
It's with
what,
the,
what a fucking waste. What an absolute fucking waste. There is. I've been waiting my entire. Get it out of your system. I have been waiting my entire adult life for like things that from my childhood, right? That I loved. Loved the original Scooby Doo stuff. So cool. The art
God, so
style. The weird.
Where Are You is the best. Yeah.
Like the
Little Sweetie,
original,
Where Are You, yeah.
the OG shit, it was just so. We all
Yeah.
knew what was gonna happen, but
They
like
kinda messed it
the
up, but-
unique like monsters and the different, why were they doing the thing? It's very cool, very cool. Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, like
Oh my God, that's like one of the best like specials, right?
best movie
best-
ever.
Yeah.
Like there are so many really awesome
I
ways
remember
that
when
you
that
could
came out.
take that series and like
I had to watch
make
it
it
recently
spooky.
because she told me I had to watch it. And I was like,
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Regardless, there's so
kinda-
many cool things that you could do with that
I kind of got
property,
exhausted
that
with
license.
Scooby Doo in my youth because like, oh, it's the same exact plot design every episode, just with a different mask. It's the same
Regardless,
fucking thing.
there's so many cool adult themes that you could bring to that because it's so open ended. Oh no, a bunch of kids find out that this guy's corrupt. Oh, like there's so much you could do with that, and they do that. Velma,
Yeah, I'm not hearing good things.
get
I'm
the
not gonna watch it
fuck-
because I don't have
Don't
time.
even
but-
bother. There's so many other amazing things that you could waste your time on. Don't even fucking bother.
I'll just go back to the Scooby Doo movie. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
To the OGs.
There's some banger songs that came out of that movie.
Oh
Okay.
my God, yeah. Jeez, man.
So
And like the CGI for Scooby Doo.
Oh, the
Honestly,
live actions.
For the live action one, I'm talking about the live action. Matthew
Oh.
Lillard is Shaggy. Yo, best casting ever.
He is Shaggy. Like,
Best casting ever.
let's not pretend that he
did not
isn't
watch
Shaggy.
those movies.
Loved him
I,
in Scream, but like
I did
that's
not
what
watch
that
those movies.
is
Scream.
what I remember him.
But
Yeah.
yes, I do remember seeing like the commercials, the previews for that, and I was like, he's doing a bang up job as Shaggy. I'll give him that. But yeah, I kind of just boycotted those just because I assumed at the time anything Freddie Prinze Jr. was in was not going to be good.
Listen, Freddie Prinze Jr. is Freddie.
I love She's All
Sarah
That.
Michelle Gellar is Daphne.
Yes.
Perfect casting. Everybody's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that was
Everybody
actually,
is
that
perfect.
was actually really good casting. To be fair,
It's too good. It's just too good. It's so good.
Yeah, I was just Scooby Dooed out by then. It's the movie. I was like, this seems like a waste.
What
of
does Freddie
the
say?
fucking hour and a half.
Nerdy chicks turn me on too. Like, yes, thank you. Like, we need some representation. Hot
Yeah,
Velma, come on. Yes,
man,
thank
I'm-
you.
Yeah, I'm not saying I was right. I'm just like that's I don't have much I can say about the Scooby Doo movies because I sort of I thought they were beneath me at the time. I was intellectually too advanced to appreciate them. Yeah,
Boo.
yeah that was my mindset at the time. Maybe I'll have to go watch them then. Maybe I'll
Oh, they're
have to-
fun. It's just
Yeah.
good fun. It's
Yeah,
good,
it's all
wholesome
fun.
fun.
I used to love all those types of movies too. That one was the biggest one I think for me at least. Did you what were some of the other ones that were out? Because there was the Scooby Doo one. They did another live action around the same time of a different cartoon, but I can't remember it for some reason.
There's quite a
I
few
think
of
the
them.
Jack is. I think it's hitting me.
The Ghoul, I love the Ghoul School. I don't know
All the old school.
Well, they did Josie and the Pussycats. I didn't see that either,
Yeah.
but I heard that was really good.
I heard it was good,
a
too.
really good, a really good like social commentary. Talking about commercialism and everything and a lot. I've been reading articles about it, and apparently it's a really interesting like tongue in cheek type of movie. Not what I assumed it was when it came out, and I was like, oh, it's just some fucking cash grab, fucking nostalgia pick. So I'd have to check it out.
Well, like, what kind of artists are you? Like, what kind of things do you like usually write about?
Oh, geez.
Or, like, what? Yeah.
So
Let's get us back to track here.
yeah.
Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
I was just getting my mind.
Yeah, I was having fun talking about fucking bullshit cinema. That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't get into me. We want to. I was hoping we would avoid that for the.
Oh, we'll go back to cinema. Don't you worry. I got a few things.
No, so I
that-
write a lot. I mean, I write So this is the Bones of Madness. I was just describing it the other night at one of the shows. There's a lot of personal things in here. There's also a lot of fictional narrative in here, and there's a healthy mix of the two. Things that were inspired by my life but took a fictional bent in the creation in here.
Like an over exaggeration.
Right. I actually wrote a piece the day before yesterday and performed it at this show that's exactly that. It's inspired by a real situation that I went through in my youth, but goes into a much more dramatic situation just because I have the artistic license. It's my fucking poem. I can do what the fuck I want with it. But I clarified it for everybody beforehand. I was like, so this part didn't happen. Like, don't come like pat me on the back and like, I'm so sorry you went through that. It didn't happen. But it was a thing that I thought might happen at the time. So I wrote the version of what my biggest fear of the time was. I
Why don't you
created
just
it
read
and
it?
realized it. Don't put me on the spot.
Oh, don't worry. I think it's a good idea. I want you to find something to read. I want to.
I think you should read that one because it was very good.
Yeah, give it a shot. Give us something good. Because you're what I would call a seasoned poet, right? You've been in the game a
He's
bit.
well seasoned.
I am seasoned like.
Well, how long you been doing it?
He's been well marinated.
I'm marinated. I'm seasoned. I got 11 herbs and spices, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm,
That's your
20
man.
years. 20 years. he's
I'm
been
finger
doing
licking
this.
good. No, I've been like I told you. I've been doing the. I know. Stop.
I'm trying to help you.
I know.
You're making it so hard.
I know. Just stop grabbing at me.
I mean, I ain't mad.
No, I've been doing the. I told you I've been doing the performance stuff since about like 03, 04. So it's been like 19, 20 years.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how little I've accomplished out of it.
Good lord.
No, I've done some good things. No, I've done some good things. I got a book out of it. I've met some great people. Jim Carroll, one of my favorite poets, read one of my poems before he died, and that made me very happy. Jim Carroll. Have you guys ever seen The Basketball Diaries?
I've not.
Leo DiCaprio movie came out in like the
I've probably seen it,
mid
but
to late 90s.
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember.
Basketball Diaries is it's and funny because we're talking about that. It's sort of a fictionalized version of his real life because it's kind of set in the 90s, whereas Jim Carroll was, a teenager in the 70s, and yeah, but it's a really good movie. You should check it out. It's dark. It's fucking dark. So Jim Carroll, one of my favorite poets, dropped out of high school due to his heroin addiction and wound up homeless in New York City for a long time, feeding his drug habit and doing all that. And that's what the movie centers around is his life that way. But I assume that they said it in the 90s just because they didn't have the budget to like get all the cars and shit and park them all over New York. So they're just like, fucking put a pair of cons on them and just whatever. There's a fucking Acura in the background. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
but it's a really good movie. And so my friend and publisher actually, Mark Brunetti, somehow got a copy of the zine that he was publishing at the time to Jim Carroll, and he told me about it. He's like, yeah, Jim Carroll's got the one that came out this month. We got it for him. I was like, holy shit. I was like, give me that zine. I looked through it and I found the poem that he chose to publish. Yeah, I'd submit something every month for him. I'd submit like 5 or 6 things, and he'd pick his favorite thing and fucking publish it. And the thing he published, like, I was really underwhelmed by myself. I was like, oh, that's the one Jim Carroll read that one? fuck. But he read something of mine, so that's good. But I was like, man, oh, he got to read one of my poems, and it was that poem. All right. Like, it's not a great poem. It's not a bad poem, but it's not a great poem. But yeah, so that was really cool. So, things have happened. I published the book. Jim Carroll read my book, and then I might have accidentally killed him.
It was so bad. He just
Jim
he
Carroll
quit
was
life.
so upset. He was like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm clocking out.
This
Yeah.
fucking Josh Fink guy. It's
If I
just...
have to read one more zine, he just keeled over and died.
But yeah, no, some cool shit has come along along the way. I've done some cool shows. I've met some great people. I've done some good networking. That's why we're fucking here. We're doing this shit because I happen to be performing at a thing you guys are at, and so here we are.
Yeah.
I'm drinking your booze and I'm wasting your time. And so,
Are you using it very well? Not
I
wasting
wouldn't
it.
be calling it wasting. You're gonna get wasted, but you're not wasting your time. The time will not be wasted.
Different
yeah.
waste. Read us something. What you
all
got?
right, Jesus. All right.
Yeah.
Give us something good.
I'm gonna choose not to do the one that she was pressuring me to do because
You'll have to come out to the show.
That's how I work.
You guys gotta earn
If
that
you-
one.
If you try to push me into something, I'm gonna fucking moonwalk right away from it. What do you need me to do? Redirect me? You need me to-
Read one. What?
Oh no, I thought you said something about this camera.
Oh no.
Oh, we're good.
Just find one.
Read us
do
something
one.
good.
all right.
Read's a good
son
one.
of a
Show
bitch.
show them who you are.
All right. Oh, here. Oh, here. This is a fun one. This is called The Kitchen. There's a lot about my father in this book. I got lots of daddy issues.
Don't we
There's
all?
actually a unit in this. I have a couple of units. There's one unit that focuses on my time in the psych ward. It's like a 4-piece grouping, and then there's I think a 3-piece grouping about my father in here too. And I think there's one other one that I can't remember right now because it's been a while since I wrote this fucking thing and put it together. Anyway, this one's called The Kitchen. After my father and I had the sex talk, all I could think of was cheese. So I searched the fridge for something to melt it on. Standing in my dingy kitchen, the floors and walls stained from leaking water, pots and pans lived permanently in our filthy sink. These days it was throwaway Tupperware and paper plates. Our refrigerator was a model you might see in a Three Stooges short. The food inside, just about as old. Somehow we had a microwave oven. You can imagine how clean it was inside. Once the radiation buzzed up, I found art in my surroundings, waiting for my leftover chicken cutlet. These dirty pots, mildew stains, prehistoric appliances, pushing out one last spark. I saw an amazing setting. It wasn't beautiful, not even close, but I couldn't help see something like a movie. This is a place that 2 cops walk into and find too many people slaughtered, guts thrown everywhere like raw ground meat, buckets of organs and bones in a fridge or bathtub, like a collection someone can't wait to show. I've been doing this for years. Here are some of my favorites. Then the microwave blipped off, bringing me back to the less romantic reality. There was no blood here, no bones or bodies. Just one tired man and a sick young boy.
Very nice.
Very
Very nice.
I love that.
Do we have the button, Zach? We gotta get the applause.
No, I don't got a button on me. I don't got the buttons on.
The applause.
I would have had the applause
I
button
don't
going
need the
off.
fake applause.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of those things. I just remember being a kid. Me and my father. I had a weird upbringing because I was an only child during the week, and then I had visitation with my mother, where all of a sudden I had 2 half sisters on every other weekend. So most of the time I was an only child, but then twice 2 weekends a month, all of a sudden I had an older sister and a younger sister, and it was a weird little switcheroo.
Yeah. So let's get into that. How was your relationship with your father? Kind of influenced you in your writing?
I'm sorry.
Look out!
That was just. Yeah,
Look out now!
that
No,
just kinda
of course.
came out.
No,
I gotta hit you with something.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's why I'm here, sir.
All right. Well, I'll tell you.
So the question for anyone who misses is: how has your relationship with your dad influenced your work and your poems, the way you write, and what plays into those daddy issues? Like, can you explain that?
I can try. I can give it a whirl. all gains.
Let's test the mind.
So, like I said earlier, my father really made the decision for me that I would be a writer. He was very he was very instrumental in all that. He was even condescending about it at certain points in my youth, where like I'd come home with something and I'd have like, you know, the gold star on it, or the fucking the teacher wrote like great job, and I'd bring it home and he'd look it over and crumple it up and just throw it over his shoulder. He's like, you're better than that. You're better than that. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I just came home with some great shit. And you're like, you're better than that.
Honestly, a whiplash.
So, so it was shit like that would happen, and I'd get mad. I'd get so mad. I'd fucking hate him, and then I'd fucking anger write. I go in my bedroom like, fucking motherfucker, scribble something out. So I mean, yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic. Sometimes it got a little tense. My father had a very interesting approach to raising a child. He told me when I was a kid, he was like, I respect your intellect. I know you have. I know you have the smarts because you came from me, and I'm an arrogant fucking son of a bitch, and I know I'm smart, so I know you got it. So it's like, I won't talk down to you, and I won't pander. I will tell you what's going on. I will tell you like an adult, like a peer. We will speak to each other like peers. And he did. He did that, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. Sometimes kids need to be sheltered from the harsh realities of the world. And, you know, he kind of went all in on that. So, like, there were times where he was like, so I got to fucking leave town for a little while because I got a warrant out for my arrest. Here's some pizza money. Don't open the fucking door for anybody till I get back. I'm like, okay. Things like that would happen. So it was an interesting upbringing. But yeah, he framed who I am as a writer very much. You know, because he would break down like what was wrong with things I was doing in the early stages, my creative process, and he'd make suggestions about ways to make things more interesting when I'd show them to him. He never did like the dad thing. He was like, oh, that's really cool, that's really good, let's put it on the fridge. He was always dissecting and analyzing and offering me something, constructive criticism or shitty criticism, whichever he felt like doing in the moment. But yeah, so there was a lot of that, and you know, we had a really interesting and unique relationship for you know, my time in the elementary and middle school years. At the end of my time in middle school, we were living with my grandmother at the time to help her because my grandfather had died when I was in 5th grade. My grandfather died. I watched him die. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that shit.
Yeah, I watched him.
I'll drink to that shit.
I watched him fucking die. It was like 5:30 in the fucking morning, and he's just choking on his own lung fluid from lung cancer, and my grandmother's fucking holding, the whole family's there, and they're all looking at my dad like, why did you bring him to this? Like, why did you bring him here? And he's just so, and then my grandmother just threw her arms over my grandfather, and it's like, if you need to go, just go. And he just stopped breathing. He just shut the fuck down. And I was like, wow, it was really stark.
Yeah,
So anyway,
fucked up.
yeah, that was some shit. But so didn't mean to bring the energy into a weird level there.
It's all good. I love to switch it up.
We're talking about your dad. It's
Sure.
gonna get weird.
Yeah, it's gonna get. Yeah, you invited this stuff. So no, so we were living with my grandmother and my father, you know, to help her with the bills and help with things like that. That's why we were living there. And my father decided that because he didn't have to beeline straight home anymore to take care of me, he could get back to indulging in his alcoholism. And he just got dark. He just became mean and dark, and things got ugly. And so I made what I thought was the healthiest move, was to transfer from living with my father to my mother. So I wound up going from living on the Delaware River side of the state to the ocean side of the state with my mother, and things transpired the way they did, and I haven't seen him since I was 17 years old.
Really? I've seen him since she was 17. Is he still around? So do you know?
I have no idea. I've made two attempts over the years to try to see if I can locate him. There was a situation with that side of the family where for many years I kind of didn't want to talk to any of them either. There were situations that transpired when my grandmother died that I felt were in poor taste or tact, and in my adolescent fury, I just went, you know what, just fuck the whole team over there, just fuck the whole fucking team. But with the advent of social media and things, you know, people find you, and I rekindled a relationship with that side of the family, and they don't know where he is either. Nobody knows where the fuck he is.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you're Josh's dad,
Please call.
and you're
watching
listening
this.
to this,
I mean, if he searches your name, he'll find you on YouTube.
Oh,
So
jeez. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I was talking to my Uncle Joe about it the one time because I don't see them very often at all. In fact, I haven't seen anybody on that side of the family for a few years. But we're friendly on social media and stuff. But the Christmas tradition on my father's side of the family was that the large Catholic Irish brood would all collect on Christmas Eve and exchange presents, eat, drink, be merry, and then go home. And then Christmas morning, they'd all do like Santa with their kids. So I went to a couple of these Christmas Eves after I rekindled a relationship with them, and I wound up hanging out with my Uncle Joe, both of us very intoxicated. And he was like, you know what I would do if I saw your dad? And I was like, well, what'd you do, Joe? He's like, I'd punch him in the fucking mouth, and then I'd pick his ass up and buy him a drink. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it myself.
Now, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I hope this comes out the way that I want it to, because the whiskey's doing.
I will hit you.
Doing a good thing.
All right.
Now, before
Watch your mouth.
before he went into and delved into intoxication,
Sure.
into alcoholism,
Right.
and he would take your stuff and critique it heavily and throw it around or whatever. Do you believe that he might have been doing that because he felt like he wanted you to be better, because he felt like you could be? He felt like you could be better than him.
and did it work?
100%.
Did it work?
It was totally the motivation. That was 100% the motivation behind it. Absolutely.
Do you believe?
No, when I was younger, like before we moved in with my grandmother, and we were still even cool for a couple of years after that. Like I said, it was 5th grade, and then by 8th grade things started falling off the rails. But when I was young, like, we had a great relationship. He always had anger issues. The alcoholism just
Made it worse. Yeah,
just ballooned it. But he was always fucking angry. He's an angry fucking dude. And something that I inherited and worked on for a long time. I'm much better now. But yeah, he was an angry guy. But we always had a very good relationship. We had very healthy, open discussions about lots of things. We talk. He'd share art with me and introduce me to stuff. He's always interested in feeding my intellect. It was like his project. It was like I fucked myself. I fucked myself up because I knocked up this girl. She was 20. I was 22. Right. My trajectory completely altered. I wanted to do things this way, but now I got to do it this way because I got this guy. So what I'll do is I'll invest that effort here. So that was his thing. Like, my father was always an arrogant. So switch over to my mother for a second. My mother used to say to me verbatim, anytime we were in an argument about something and I was winning and she'd be pissed off, she would call me a crass, arrogant bastard. That's what she would call me every time. Those in that order. Fucking crass, arrogant bastard. You know who you are? You're Chris fucking Barron. That's my father. You're fucking Chris fucking Barron. You know I can't stand him. I don't fucking talk to him. Do I fucking want him in my home right now? Because he's being manifested. He's right here. Joshua. What the fuck? Yeah, crass, arrogant bastard. So my father, You know, when he's crumpling up my stuff and throwing it away, it's his arrogance. It's not saying like, you know, fuck, like you're not doing it right or you can't do better. He's saying, he's like, this is beneath you. This is beneath our intellectual capacity. You're so much better than this. I feel like you phoned it in. Your teacher doesn't understand your potential, is what he's trying to tell me. She's giving it fucking gold stars and A pluses and writing all these, you know, accolades on it because she thinks it's great. But we are better, is what he was trying to throw out there. That's what he's trying to put out. Did I receive it that way? No. I was really proud of that fucking piece, and I was pissed off. But, you know, it was his attempt at trying to relate to me in the same way because, like I said, he was, you know, I understand and appreciate your intellect, so he's thinking I'm on the same wavelength with him. Where, you know, whereas I guess he would assume that if I handed him that and he crumpled it up and threw it away and said like, you're better, that I was supposed to like puff my chest up and go, you know what, Dad, you're absolutely fucking right, thanks buddy. But instead, like, it just fucking hurt.
Yeah,
but like that's where he was, I think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
I think that's what
like that and like on paper is like something that you could really appreciate, like stuff like that. Like it's hard to go through like in real time, but like over time, like you're like, yeah, you know what, he was right for certain things like that. Like I shouldn't just succumb to like a certain way, but I should always be ever learning and be ever
sure,
like, because I know my worth, and I shouldn't, like, it's great to hear great things, like people are saying, oh, this was great, but if I feel that it's not better, then I can do better and I could be better. I feel like probably not best to do it to someone who's maybe like 5 to 8 years old.
Yeah,
maybe not the best. I mean, you could probably word it differently to make it where the message is going through, but it's sounding better. But I feel like on paper, the aspect of it, I feel like is something that you could, you know, at least over time, like be like, yeah, I appreciate that this happened.
Right.
I feel like it's just an over time thing. Like when you're young, it's
no. I
sucks,
think I think this is true. Most parents fuck up with the best intentions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I think that's a thing. I think most parents fuck up with the best intentions. Like they're trying to change the things that they see wrong with their upbringing, and along the way they just find a whole new spectacular way of fucking up a person.
In trying not to do what their parents did to them.
Oh yeah.
So, for instance, like getting to my trauma a little bit here.
Let's do it, baby.
My parents decided that the best way to protect me was to make me tough. So instead of teaching me to fight or sending me to self-defense classes, they decided to relentlessly make fun of me to the point where I had zero self-esteem.
It doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
It's not.
Yeah. No.
Especially for a young girl who was very quiet, artistic, definitely wasn't, you know, loud, joyous, you know, kind of the kid that sits at the back of the room and wants to be left alone.
I don't think that's how you raise a girl. I don't think so.
Definitely not.
I would not.
No, she would tell me these stories, and I'd be looking at her in disbelief.
We're not going to bash my
no,
parents.
we're absolutely not.
They did what they could. However, what they didn't understand is, like, I would go to school and get that relentlessly, and then I'd come home and I'd get it. I was like, well, God, I'm not safe anywhere. Leave me alone. I just want to be left alone. Like,
I do like my peace and quiet.
I don't hate myself. I don't think I'm weird. I don't think I'm, so other than everybody. I'm not ugly. I'm not smelly. I'm just this little girl. Why is everybody up my shit?
I'm just chilling out
well,
here.
I'm just fucking trying to live. Yeah, like, God, you know? And I also had this really fun thing where, like, all of my best friends that I made were, like, military kids. So, like, all my little girlfriends, they'd be there for, like, 3 months, and then, oh, Daddy's got to go to Okinawa. We're leaving. And I'm like, bye, one friend, you know? Like, fuck, now I'm going to get picked on again. Like, just relentless. It was just relentless. So, like, instead of building me up that way and saying, like, you're better than this, it was like, oh, well, if we give you a tough skin, like, no one can hurt you. It's like, God, I'm hurting all the time. Like, everything hurts. Can you just uplift me a little bit? Like the drawing thing, like, oh, you're tracing. No, I'm not anymore. Like, yes, I was tracing. There was a time, but now I don't have to. So I kind of had to like build up that confidence for myself because nobody was giving it to me. Nobody. I wasn't allowed to take art classes because I was bad at math. So I denied the one thing that I like to do. So I would just draw in every class and piss everybody off.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't care. You know, I was like, well, this sucks. I guess I'll just draw the whole time. What's math? Like multiplication? I'll never need that. Yeah, I just didn't, you know, I didn't, all I had was the art, and nobody was validating me until much later. Like, here's two really good ones. So the boys were especially mean to me. The girls are petty, but the boys like to cut deep, you know, and the nasty little things that they would say. And one boy, who also was into art a little bit, he came up to me one day and he was like, you know, you're not half bad at what you do, but you're always going to be like the cartoonist. I'm the one that draws people like for real. Like I know how to draw real people. Now, if you remember those little like herby characters that you would get out of gumball machines that had like the parachute pants, that's what his art looked like. So if that's what real people look like I guess, you know, everybody looks like a 90s.
I just think it's like a really highbrow insult for like an elementary schooler.
Yeah. Well, then the other one comes up to me. I'm doodling some anime girl, and he comes up to me and he really nice. He's like, wow, she's really pretty. I was like, thank God. Like somebody's being nice to me for once. Like, wow, that's such a big deal. Thank you. And he's like, do you draw pretty girls because you wish you looked like them?
Damn.
I'm a child, mind you. I'm a whole ass child.
Once again,
whole children. And that's the thing that this kid says.
I'm over here childing my ass off.
I just like crumpled. I didn't cry. I never let them see me cry. But I was just like, man, when is this going to let up? And it didn't.
Yeah.
Took a long time for everybody to leave me the fuck alone. So then I got like crazy and mean. And, you know, that wasn't like my dad's fault. I just like, there was no other way to get them to leave me alone. I was like, if I look like a Columbine kid, maybe.
Feel that.
Trip pants, all black, music blasting. I was like, maybe if they think I've got an AK in my locker, this shit'll stop. And it did.
Columbine kid, wow. That's
I had to like totally snap for them to like finally leave me alone. Just absolutely out of my mind. Like just thinking about it all the time. Like when American Horror Story came out and Tate shows up at school with the painted on skull face, I was like, oh wow, that feels familiar. Like,
Sounds like looks like something I'd do.
Telling his therapist about shooting up the school, I'm like, wow, I could have been that kid, man. Wow. They pushed me so far. It's a good thing I'm not a sociopath.
Same. To be honest, I that was kind of like me too, because I was an only child too, and you know, I just tried doing whatever, and you know, some people picked on me, some people didn't. I had really good friends. Like Andrew was one of those. But
it'd be weird if some people didn't.
Yeah, but like for me, like like the people that did not like me, it really got to me. I was like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Fuck you all.
Because like why?
And I was and so I'm like, oh, you don't want to be friends? You don't want to like me? Fuck you then. I will make myself unlikable whatsoever. I don't care.
Spite.
I will do whatever it takes to be unlikable. And so that's pretty much what I did for the most of middle school and half of high school, I guess. And then I just didn't give a shit anymore. I was like, I don't care what you think of me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do me. Hang out with the friends I have, because that's what means to me.
Right.
My friends mean the most to me, so that's what that's what I cared about the most. I don't care shit about anybody else. And I just went on that way.
Right on, man.
I do think that men have to, you know, I'm speaking for men and specifically, I think we have to go through something to kind of, you know, it's like the hero's journey, right? Because you have to go through these things and it makes you who you are. You have to get, you know, push through some obstacles in order to become greater. Kind of like you mentioned Dragon Ball earlier, right? Same Goku, right? Same thing. You have to keep leveling up, right? And you have to go through Super Saiyans, and you have to go through Cell, then you have to go through Majin Buu. You have to go through all these different villains in order to become stronger and stronger and stronger, because you have to, you know, life is about maxing out. Life is about evolving constantly. That's what we talk about on the channel, is getting better every day. But you can't do that without an obstacle. If you, let's say you're born rich and no one ever picks on you, and then you have the easiest life ever, get handed everything, and then one day you're walking the street and someone, like slaps you in the face for some reason, and you don't know how to handle that because you've never been through anything before as a man. So you're like, and you get scared, right? But if you're a man, right, and you've been trained to fight and you've been picked on before and you've defended yourself, so someone slaps you, now you know how to, stand up for yourself. So I think men have to go through some kind of, whether it be trauma or obstacle or something that toughens your mind. And now you're prepared for the real world, because the real world is not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, there's something to that, but there's also the problem is a lot of like I feel like most of the reason that kids who get bullied, like violently bullied, not like just name calling, but like
physical.
Like when I was growing up, like
yeah.
my friends, like the friends I hung out with, we were sort of on the fringe. We weren't because a lot of the white kids in my town at the time when I was in elementary, middle school were emulating black culture a lot, and we were more interested in like doing like the grunge thing, that type of thing. So we were sort of on the fringe of things, but so they get picked on and they get hit. I think the problem with it is that we all have the fight or flight response. Now, as a kid, I was a flight kid. I was a flight kid. I would fucking buckle away, and I'd cry, and I'd fucking scurry away, as were most of my friends. It's like the four of us. It was me, my friend Matt Walters, who was my best friend for many years. My buddy Nate. I know I'm touching the thing, and Brian, and they get picked on. They'd come for me a little bit, but they came for those guys a lot, especially Nate and Brian. Like Matt was a bigger dude, and he didn't really get picked on very much at all. But they kept getting picked on because they had that flight mentality, not the fight mentality, and I had it too. But because I realized, like I just intellectually realized, like we live in a square mile town. You can't get away from anybody. You can't just run away from you. You just know where you can go.
I think you really need to have friends and backup as well.
So then I just started getting fucking mean. And I'd start hitting, and I wouldn't stop till somebody pulled me off, and I would shout crazy fucking random shit and I just became the scariest version of myself, just because that was like I was just outletting, like I'd start hitting you, and then I'd just start manifesting and unleashing all the shit that's been like behind my chest, behind my bones. This custody shit, this parent shit, this fucking alcoholic fucking parent shit, this fucking, split up home shit. It just all would start fucking pouring out of my fucking muscles into your fucking nose bridge. And I just go, and I'm just like a Pentecostal fucking nut job, just screaming in tongues. I just lose my fucking mind. And then somebody would pull me off, be like, dude, you're gonna kill a fucking 12-year-old.
Yeah. Did you have a method for controlling your emotions? Or is that something you're still struggling with? Or
Irish guys?
It's something I've gotten very, very good at. I am much better at it.
Well, that's the hero's journey then, isn't it?
I am very, very good at it now. I maintain especially that. Dude, when I was younger, my anger was out of control.
Me too. When I was like a small child.
My anger was out of control.
I feel like my anger is still out of control.
Her anger still is out of control. Very much. I can attest to that.
You get there.
Yeah.
But when I was when I was
Irish,
in high
Germans,
school, I would punch the holes in the wall, like the fucking internet Kyle with Monster Energy drink. I'd fucking punch the holes in the wall. My mother had this tree outside that I would work over with an aluminum bat when I got fucking mad. And there was this big spot where all the bark was gone because I had busted it away. It was the spot, and I'd work it over. And she came out one day, and she's like, "Have you been doing this to my tree? You're gonna kill my." I mean, the tree was like this fucking big, and like the trunk was this. I'm not gonna knock the tree over. I'm not gonna hurt the tree. I mean, I might be hurting the tree. I don't know, but I wasn't gonna kill the tree with a fucking bat. But my mother was like, "Stop fucking doing that." And I was like, "I have to hit something, and it's the only thing I can fucking hit." And I can still feel it now, because you hit a fucking tree with a bat.
Oh, yeah,
the reverberations through your fucking hands, and it felt good to me at the time. I was so mad, like that pain was good. It was like
It was fueling you.
Yeah, it was just like, and I just worked that fucking tree over with the bat. It was crazy. Yeah, I was that kind of angry. I was a very, very angry dude. I got it from my father. My father used to break my fucking toys. He used to piss me off because he'd throw a fucking tantrum and like throw his lamp against the wall and whatever was near him, and like my favorite fucking cap gun. He'd bam. I'm like, dude, you busted the hammer off the back of my cap gun. Now I can't do this shit. Now this whole mechanism is gone. Don't you know I'm an actor out here in the fucking living room when you're smoking weed in your bedroom? I'm out here fucking doing some Billy the Kid shit, and you're fucking me up. I can't fucking cock the hammer back on my gun anymore. Motherfucker. Pissed me off. He just break whatever was near him. So there was a real rage problem inherent from him. And I think in that side of my family as a whole, because I told you my Uncle Joe, we had talked about him, talking about my dad and stuff. He was living with my Uncle John at the time. And after one of the Christmas Eve bashes, we all wound up back at their house, fucking drinking and smoking and just reminiscing and talking shit. He got kicked out of my Uncle John's house because he got too drunk and tried to beat up my Uncle John. My Uncle John is not a young dude. I'm like, dude, you can't get fucking drunk and try to beat up John. You're gonna fucking kill your brother. What are you doing?
Yeah, I got a lot of my my rage from my father. He's he was before the scoliosis kind of took over. He was about a 6'4" dude in high school, and the school's old, so all the rooms the entrances were very small, and so he'd hunch, and he wanted to fit in, so he'd kind of lean over a little bit, just so he was just a little smaller, but he was just always a big dude. His hands are.
Dude's got like gorilla hands.
They're like
he's got big fucking.
And he's
hands.
much
Big
thinner
fucking
than
mitts.
he used to be. He was always about 240, kind of guy. Now he's probably maybe 190, but he's just always been a very big German dude, and I've never been afraid of him, but I'd be afraid for anybody that fucked with my dad because he's just a monster. Like he talks about shit sometimes, like he would just punch through lockers, like his hand would just go through.
Yeah.
So like as a child, listening to my in the 90s, listen to my parents fight all the time, I started to like pick that shit up because I clearly wasn't being taught how to feel through my shit. So like PS1 controllers bouncing off the floor into whatever, smashing them on the floor, breaking stuff. I never was inclined to hurt people, so I would hurt myself. I would beat the shit out of myself. I would punch myself in the head as hard as I could because I couldn't regulate my feelings. And I couldn't hit anything because I would get in trouble if I broke something. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll just beat the shit out of myself. Like, I didn't know what to do.
He's got small knuckles.
I have very small hands, so it didn't really do a lot of damage, clearly. Like, I'm not, in a bed somewhere drooling. So I didn't, But, like, the anger...
Anybody with those knuckles.
the anger has continued over the years. And actually, I got touched a lot by my peers at school. They would put their hands on me. I'm not sure what it was about. I don't get why that was the way to go about it, but a lot of the boys would get a little handsy with me. And I beat up quite a few boys in my time.
I do what you gotta do.
Honestly.
I don't remember this one, but apparently we were all like in the hallway at the elementary school, and I guess somebody was fucking with me. I think I picked him up and I put him against the wall, and everything changed. Everybody was like, whoa, like, stop, this is like, post Columbine, so like, don't beat the shit out of each other, don't threaten each other, don't say I'm gonna kill you. And yeah, there's just a few times where little boys, they're like, oh, I'm gonna chase you and touch your butt, I'm gonna touch your butt. And Daddy was like, no, don't let anybody touch you. If he touches you, you tell your teacher, you tell the bus driver, tell your principal, and then you can kill him. And I was like, okay, I like that. Like,
Doable.
Yeah. They didn't stop fucking with me, but they stopped touching me. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Unsolicited touching is not good.
Do not.
We do
Consent
not condone.
is important.
Yeah, we do not condone.
Yeah.
We definitely do not condone.
It's just weird. Like,
We
little
kind of make
boys,
fun of people for doing that.
Don't touch Kate.
Don't touch me, actually.
Don't fucking do it. Just don't fucking do it.
If
Yeah,
you
I'm
want
not-
your head on your neck, please leave it.
Most
I'm
of the
not
time,
big
I'm
into
afraid
the-
to touch her.
I'm not big into the touch thing. I've never been like a touchy-feely type of person. I have to feel really like safe with you to want to be physically close to you. So like even when like dudes like just walk up near me, I'm already like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I'm already just like ready to go because like you can't tell from here, but I'm a little taller than some ladies. I'm not like the 4 foot whatever. I'm about 5'6". I'm a bigger lady. I got little hands, but I can throw them.
Yeah, I've noticed
I'll
these
throw
a lot
'em.
of girls are not as comfortable around a lot of guys. I feel like a lot of girls have bad experiences. You know, I've heard a lot of horror stories from different angles. I mean, I'm kind of in the dating scene, and I see I've heard different perspectives of different situations. A lot of girls are afraid to, it's the same reason why you don't want to walk alone at night. It's the same reason why, you'd rather have Josh walking next to you in the street because you just don't, these days. People are so emotional and unpredictable as well because you hear all these news stories of shit going down out there and people getting abducted. It's like the world
Human
can
trafficking
be,
is a fucking thing. Like we are. It's right in like Ocean County. Like
it is everywhere.
when
and,
I worked at the mall, those weird fucking hers, whatever they're like these people. They're human traffickers, and they go to like public spaces and they try to recruit young women who don't know any better. Oh, have you heard of our church? God is a woman, and we want to talk to you about God being a woman, and she'll save you if you want to come to our church.
no one could save me.
I mean, it was well. The funny thing is, I'm a Satanist, and I don't really believe in that shit anyway. But I was, I'd let them talk, and they'd come into the mall and try to like poach
The mall.
girls that were, at the time
I'm
worked.
trying to go out for a drink.
I know. I'm not trying to convert you, right?
I'm trying to get some drinks. Some
Yeah,
company.
just some company, some good company, right? No.
But most of that stuff doesn't even get reported. There is so much we don't know about. It kind of.
It's fucking hot in here, man.
Oh yeah, it's just me. But, like there's a
It
lot.
does it to you,
Maybe
man.
take your jacket off.
I can't take my jacket off because I wear the jacket to hide the ridiculous belly that I have accumulated through my years
Beef and eggs, brother.
of
Beef and eggs.
of
Does the trick.
decadence and
Yeah, maybe you can talk about that after
excess.
the show because this guy he does a lot of whining about his
Don't worry,
kettle
we'll
and
give
not a
you-
lot of doing anything about it.
All right, we'll give you free coaching, sir.
no,
yeah,
I
free
don't
coaching
need.
for you.
I know what I gotta do. I gotta hit the gym. I'm just not doing it.
If
No,
there's
not
some-
even the gym. Nutrition is.
No, that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I gotta eat.
Nutrition is
Tell
like
about
80%.
Allie.
I
Tell
gotta
about Allie.
eat
Yeah, so-
less garbage.
Oh,
and
100%.
I know what I have
Get
to
off
do.
the soda.
I don't know. She's
Don't
the soda
drink
one.
beer.
I'm getting there.
She's the soda one.
I'm getting there.
usually if I'm not drinking something like this, I'm drinking water usually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we have a friend Allie who's been on the podcast, who's been on the channel.
She's
a lot.
probably our like number one and number
she's
two
our,
client.
Yeah, she's like our number one client. She lost, I think, like almost 100 pounds.
over 100
Oh
pounds.
yeah,
at this point,
over 100 pounds.
Wow.
She lost, but I think she lost like 90 pounds in 90 days or something like that.
I think it was 60 or 70. Yeah.
yeah, like
That's
something like that.
that's.
She lost a lot
Yeah,
of
that's-
weight.
Guess
That's a
how
lot.
many times she went to the gym during that 90-day period?
Do I actually have to guess?
5.
Guess.
Damn it.
Give
She
one
gets
guess.
5.
7.
Zero.
Absolutely.
She
none.
is a lazy motherfucker.
I mean,
but
that's
super
the thing.
lazy.
It's
how she
like-
did it was she cleaned up the sugar and the nutrition.
That's what I've been telling
just
her.
like that.
Because she's been doing less with the soda. She's like, I think I should allow myself one like a day. And I was
Say
like, I
cut
think
it
you
out.
should just fucking
Yeah.
zap that
I
shit
feel
out.
like it's.
I
I feel
agree.
like it's
You
fine
have
to
to
overcome, like to slowly do
Yes.
it. I feel like because mentally, you can.
No,
You
I
could,
told her.
in theory, you
I
could
told
go
her that.
cold
I told
turkey.
her that. I was like, no, I'm proud of you for taking the strides to get there, but I
Yeah.
think you should aim at getting yourself to 0 sodas a day.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
think
the
that
goal.
should be the goal.
It's the goal. Like the goal.
It's like it's an addiction.
Yeah,
man. It's like
yeah.
anything.
Sugar is like the worst
Yeah.
addiction. It's like worse than like crack sometimes. Like
All
you'd
the
be
time.
That's the whitest thing anybody's ever said.
I
I feel like you can get off. You could in theory get off of certain drugs, more than you could of sugar. Like it's that like sugar is that bad.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you don't think about. Like, I'm talking to somebody
I
about.
want you to smoke
God.
crack for a week, and then compare and contrast,
To
and
soda.
let me know.
Don't worry.
Let me know how you feel about
I'll get right on it.
that
once I find
statement
it.
you just
new
made.
challenge. New.
I
new
was.
I'm
I
pretty sure
was,
there actually is a study though. There is a study on that though.
I was speaking to a friend about it. They were saying you should stop drinking your calories. It's really important to like stop
yeah.
drinking
That's
your
part of
calories
it.
because I love the yummy drinks, the sodas, the
Nope.
coffee is that's my big thing. Is like
The protein shakes.
and like
whatever.
I'm a weirdo and I have texture problems. So like I'm not big into eating. Like if I didn't have to eat, it'd probably be like set. Just give me an IV.
Bruh.
I'm just trying to like do stuff, you know. Like,
That would make my life
Like,
so much easier.
Like
Really
I
would.
eat one
I'm
meal
the
a
cook
day.
in the relationship, so like I have to make the things. But like
Yeah.
she is so very particular about textures, about how dry something is.
We've
Like,
all but come to the conclusion that I
used
have
to-
rampant ADHD. And
it used to be a problem where I couldn't
We
give her
haven't fixed
anything
it.
with like sauce or anything on it because she was like, no, it's gonna get mushy.
Yeah.
It's gonna get mushy. I can't eat it.
Let's talk about your problems.
I've made.
Well, then let's start with this. Okay. Let's start easy. What did you eat today?
There you
What
go.
did I eat today?
Probably nothing.
I actually encourage that.
That's not true. What I eat today, I ate a double sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit.
You failed for the day.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I had a couple of glasses of 2% milk.
Not good. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some work to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. He does this really great thing where like he won't eat all day and then he feels like shit and he's like, God, why do I feel like shit? It's like,
But it's also about what you're consuming. That's causing.
absolutely, absolutely.
Based on how you feel is everything you consume. You are what you eat, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
You want to know what I
100%.
ate today?
What?
Sylvester Stallone.
I wish. No.
That's dessert.
You know, I had a 1 pound. I had a 1 pound burger, grass finished beef, with 2 slices of cheese because that shit's huge, bro.
Yeah, that's enormous. A fucking pound of fucking meat
Bro, I've
for
had-
one burger.
Bro, you don't even know. You
Oh
don't
my
even
God.
know what I can eat. Yeah. So
That's insane.
but that's literally all I
I
had.
once made myself like a half-pound burger, and I put in the center. I put a bunch of mozzarella cheese. It was actually a Christmas Eve present to myself. I had Christmas Eve by myself, and I was watching at the time. I had a projector with like a fucking 100-inch screen in my apartment. So I'm watching whatever on that, or I'm playing video games. At the time, I think I was playing like a lot of Nintendo 64 games on it, which was really fun to play like Star Fox, where you're like flying around in space, but on a 100-foot fucking projection screen. It was very not 100-foot, 100-inch. 100 feet would be crazy. But you know what I mean? Yeah, big house screen. And I made this sandwich for myself, and yeah, it had mozzarella in the center and about a half a pound of meat wrapped around it. And then I rolled it up in a bun. I put some American cheese on top, so even more cheese. And then I took a picture of it, shared it on Facebook with a chapstick for scale.
This is the most exciting story I've ever
And
heard
then
in my life.
people started commenting, "Did you make that? What is it?" Because you couldn't tell the cheese was inside till I bit into it. I took the picture. It was just the burger. I was like, "It looks enormous." And then I bit into it and took a secondary picture and sent that. And I'm like, that's even worse. Like, it's not better. It's not better that it's filled with cheese.
This is how we got here. If
Well,
you were curious.
Well, it's like the reason I asked you what you ate today. It's specifically why. It's because most people don't realize what they're eating, and what I mean by that is that most people do not realize the negative effects of the simple things that they eat daily mess up their mind, their body, and like literally, because there's a whole mind-to-body connection. Everything you eat will
Physiologically.
impact you. So
Yeah.
that biscuit you ate, I mean, maybe the eggs and sausage might have not been the worst thing, depending on the quality of meat and the eggs. But we can get into that. That's a whole nother. But the biscuit itself, probably.
If you're gonna try to fuck up my foods for me, we're gonna have a problem. Because I love my eats.
It's gonna be-
This
it's
is
gonna-
what they do.
It's
so
going
you
to be a
might
love-hate
wanna-
relationship.
I loves my eats, man. I love to eat.
Trust me, bro. I do
Listen,
too.
listen.
Oh.
I am. We're been where you are. I love cookies baked in the oven. I love Pillsbury. You know, I mean, like, listen.
Fresh,
I,
hot-
I feel you.
Is this like a recorded like conversion camp that I'm sitting in
Oh
now?
no.
Because I'm not trying to do that.
That's
shit.
part two.
Please
So-
help. Please help.
That'll be
Please.
another 2-hour-long podcast. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's because all the ingredients in these things, people don't realize the impact it actually has on them. Like
No,
daily.
absolutely. No,
know?
my buddy Matt Fisher, who I
affects
mentioned before, he's and man, what a fantastic musician. Go to mattfishermusic.com, check him out. He's great.
Promote him and then roast him.
No, not
immediately.
roasting. I'm not roasting him at all. Not roasting him at all. Actually, I'm gonna be agreeing with you because Matt Fisher had some health scares, and so he started to get ultra concerned about what the food he was eating was doing to his body. So every time I meet with him, he's kind of being very informative about, bleach flour and white bread, especially American white bread. You ever read those things where people ask people who aren't from America like the weirdest things that they experienced here are. It's a really interesting thing. And I remember I was reading one of these, and it was like somebody from Ireland, Scotland, somewhere was like, your bread is so sweet. There's so much sugar in your fucking bread. No other country has like this white bread that you guys all use every day for your toast, for your sandwiches, for everything.
Everything
It's
is
just
so processed.
It's just loaded with sugar. We don't have that shit here. It's crazy that you guys eat that every day. It's fucking crazy.
Time to contact us. We'll take care of them.
Yeah.
Get connected.
But yeah, no, Matt Fisher, like he had some health scares and he was really worried about himself. So his brother is a fitness guru in Manhattan. He's got like $1 million fucking company.
Great.
And he's teaching people how to get thin and take care of themselves. Do a great job. So he was really a guiding light for Matt. But yeah, he introduced me to a whole lot, like he's like, all that sugary shit, like I don't drink that shit anymore. I just water. Like if I'm gonna have a drinky night, I'll get boozy on a boozy night, but like other than that, like just water, sparkling water. But that's like I cut that fucking sugar out there. You don't need that shit in your life. He's doing great. He's doing great. He looks a lot, but he looks better than I do. He's looking good and he's feeling good, and I'm happy for him. So yeah.
It works out.
No, I mean, I understand that there's going to be a moment in my life where
You got to be ready.
I have to
really.
I have to fucking put the cheesesteak down.
Well, no, just the bread. You could eat the steak.
Yeah. I have the steak.
So that's the good
Leave
news.
the- leave the
I
bread
love
behind.
giving good news. I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
eat the cheese and the steak. Just cut out the bread, and you'll see at least 1/3, 2/3 results. I mean, you're already mostly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me,
It's the bread that kills, man. The meats are not the problem. It's mostly. Well, I mean, there's some processed meats,
are
but
not the problem.
yeah, I mean, you gotta get good processed meat, right? Grass-fed, grass-finished. That's what we advertise on general.
Sure.
But it's really it's the bread. It's not the butter that kills you. The grass-fed butter, by the way, not the margarine. We ain't talking about this. It's not. I can't. That shit is poison. Don't ever buy that again. The Country Rock. That's
Throw
not
that out.
No, I've been
Use
told
actual
that's
butter.
what her family uses. They use the processed fucking.
No, that stuff because it
vegetable
really
oil
destroys
shit.
your gut. It
Yeah, it's
actually
terrible.
the
It's terrible.
microbiome gets
I tell her all the
destroyed.
time. It's like, dude, just use real butter. It's
better. It's a lot better for you.
tastes better
The
anyway.
taste of Kerrygold, if you've ever had Kerrygold butter,
Yeah.
oh my
I know Kerrygold.
God.
I know Kerry. Fucking
Oh,
Irish.
so it's so orgasmic.
Kerry
That stuff's
Ireland.
so good. That stuff's so good.
Holy
I
shit.
put that shit on everything. It doesn't matter what it is. I will either cook with it or it will be on top of my food. It doesn't matter. That stuff's so good, especially the salted. Oh, orgasmic.
No, salted butter is the only way to go.
Oh yeah.
You have to
Sometimes I go with unsalted, but it doesn't matter because I put salt on everything anyway too. Now it's salt. Everyone says, "Oh, salt's not good for you." Salt is good for you, but
You
the
don't want
right
to combine
amount
it
of
with
salt.
bread. Yeah,
The right amount of salt.
Everything in moderation.
People, if you saw how much salt I put on my food,
a lot.
you think I'm unhealthy. You think I need help because I put so much salt
do
on my
think so.
stuff. But however, it is important that I do this because a lot of people, and it all depends on the person's body, right? For me, I sweat a lot. So I lose a lot of the stuff that goes into why you need sodium in your body. So I lose the sodium, so I need to replenish my sodium. And so I put a lot. Do I overdo it sometimes? Yes. However, I need a lot of it, and so I just put a lot on it. I just don't care because number one, it tastes great. It enriches the flavor of not only the butter but everything else I eat. But then I also replenish my sodium within my body, which is part of the electrolytes.
As a cook, you if you're gonna cook anything butter, it has to be salted. Just as a cook,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it has to be salted butter.
Well, Mike needs more salt because he doesn't consume a lot of carbs, and we don't consume. Well, he barely consumes any. Sometimes. So when you don't consume bread or carbs, you need to replenish your electrolytes more because bread holds in sodium, and you need sodium because it's an essential electrolyte. So when you don't consume bread and carbs, it goes right out of the system, and then you get headaches. You start to feel fatigue. So he has to use a lot of salt to keep brain power alive, and that also goes for potassium, magnesium, the three main electrolytes that you need. Calcium's also included, but it's not as important as the main three. Sodium, magnesium, potassium. You gotta go with those three things. So,
Damn, dude, you're flying.
I know. So sometimes you get a headache. The reason you get a
You're
headache
doing
is
fucking key bumps while I wasn't looking.
Oh yeah.
Salt bumps.
Well, you remember when you went out?
Going.
He's got a salt lick under the table. He's
on
replenishing
my-
his brain power here.
It was like, you remember when you would get sick as a kid and you'd get fed that chicken noodle soup? It wasn't the noodles that were helping you. It was the sodium in the
fucking
broth.
The sodium, yeah.
That's why I
absolutely.
say when you get a headache, so sometimes you're just not either hydrated or you don't have enough salt or magnesium, potassium as well. You want to get your magnesium, you want to get potassium, you get from avocados, you got cream of tartar, but that's a whole other thing. Protein.
No, right on,
No,
man.
I
Gotta
love
give
it.
the
I
audience
love
some
it. I
game.
love it.
No, that's great.
I
This
love
is
it.
fun. We should just. You guys want to like play some cards or fucking?
Actually, what we're gonna do right now is Mike is gonna read you a poem of his, and you're gonna critique him.
Oh,
you're
son of a bitch.
Yep, we're gonna go there.
That's not
So-
good.
So
if
Mike,
I didn't know
Mike,
that was gonna happen, I'd have read something better, so the audience would have. I'd have more credibility.
oh, we're gonna do that next.
Yeah,
So Mike is like the amateur here, and you're gonna critique him. So Mike, bring it out. And let's see.
I have not done this in actually. I haven't written poetry like I used to, probably since I last wrote all this stuff. And I'm going to say this now. A lot of people on the podcast who've watched this podcast before would know this because we've had Damien on at least multiple times.
Yeah, I love that man. I love that man.
Oh,
Also, make sure you
absolutely.
hit the,
I absolutely love that man. Actually, if he's not told you, hold on. If he's not told you, I'm technically the reason why he's doing the things that he's doing because I was the one that gave him the. I told him about the show, the poetry open mic in Papa Ganache in Manawan. What was that? I think it was like 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Where he met Cord Moreski.
Oh, I love Cord. I
And-
love fucking
yeah,
Cord
that-
Moreski is one of my
If
favorites.
Cord, we love you.
We love
gives
you,
me-
Cord.
I don't
We
like
do.
to give myself the props. I don't like to give myself the props because he does his own thing. He does it great, and he does a great job. But he always likes to give me that props. It was like, if it wasn't for you giving me that, like none of this technically would have happened. And I appreciate that man very much. And so like when he started like Poetry in the Port, it wasn't even Poetry at the Port at the time. But when it turned into Poetry at the Port, like I was always there, and like he would have me go up on open mics and like read because I was also I was a creative writing major in like Brookdale Community College.
Sure.
And I was I was more into more narrative and more fiction stuff, but I dabbled into poetry because he liked poetry. And so
Right.
like I was like yeah. Like
Well, that's what my book is. It's a great example of that because there's a lot of narrative. Like like it's poetry, but it's all like not a lot of narrative, like short stories, but written in poetry form, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and so during the time where everything was starting with like Poetry in the Port and everything like that, and I was in like poetry classes and stuff, and I was going through what I like to call like a metamorphosis within my life where I was going through a very dark time, and I was doing whatever I could to get out of it, but like my inner demons were trying to keep me in. And were trying to keep me, succumb to it, and I didn't want it, but like I would end up keeping myself awake for days. Because every time I would go to sleep, especially at night, I'd either have sleep paralysis or I'd have night terrors.
Oh Jesus!
And so it would be very hard for me. I would never
read about sleep paralysis.
Oh,
that
it's-
sounds like the fucking scariest.
It's
stuff.
the worst fucking thing ever. And for the longest time, like I would always keep myself awake because I wouldn't want to go. I don't want to go through it. I don't want to deal with it because my demons are like trying to get me. Like if I would let myself be succumb to that, I probably would not be here right now.
Word.
And so I like would always fight it, and I was always keep myself awake. Best thing for me to do was to just write about stuff. And so I would just write like either poetry, anything that would be going on in my life, like I would just like I would just put it down and just write. And so like that's what I did a lot. And so I had a shit ton of shit that I would write because like there was I think it was like 6 months where I was doing that.
Sure.
And that's when I was going through this metamorphosis. And
Yeah.
so like I was writing
through
this stuff.
the pain is a very real thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I and some of the stuff I even put through like my class too, and some of it people were like, oh yeah, that's really good, and some people were like, oh my god, did he really just say something? Like I was actually taken out of my class. I don't know if you know this I don't know if you know who she is. Her name is Laura McCullough. She's a teacher in Brookdale, and she was a poet. She actually came out to a few poetry readings back in the day with Damien because she taught Damien as well when he went to Brookdale.
Okay.
And she taught me too. And I read her.
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I read her a poem, and she, like, it was where like it was a poem that like my demons took over, and like I put stuff down that like me while reading it, I was like, oh my god, did I really just write this?
What have I done?
What have I done? And everyone is just like in shock. She took me out of the room. Like we had like a 10-minute conversation, but like it made us closer. But this one is not that poem. This one
was a long build up to the poem you're not gonna read. What
Yeah.
the fuck was
Yeah,
that?
That one because that one I actually I actually like there was a lot of like critiques and stuff for it, but I burnt it because I told myself that
Jesus Christ. You made such a build up, and you're like,
know.
not only am I not going to read it, it's fucking not
You
possible
did the
for me
same
to
thing
read it.
earlier.
I
Let's
did,
keep it.
yeah, I did
let's
this.
keep it on track here.
I did that because it was so negative. It was so negative and so bad to the point where if I read it, like who knows what like the art of it would do to me. And so I had to remove it to
No.
to bring positive.
You got
energy
it
back.
out,
I'm
and
not.
then you.
Yeah, not saying you did anything bad. I just thought. I just thought it was funny.
And so the
that
poem-
that we
the
talked
poem-
about it so extensively. It was
The
like,
poem that I'm going to read to
Never
you.
mind.
The poem that I am going to read to you though is actually one of the first poems that I read at Damien's Things, and Charles Joseph was there, and he took
I know Charles.
he took my physical copy of my poem, and he made me like write my name on it, and he took it. So I guess that means that he liked it. But so it's so
that
yeah.
shit.
So I'm gonna read and I haven't touched it since then. I found it recently. I found all of my old stuff recently because I tried
Dude,
burying
read me
it.
some shit, man.
So here we go. So this one is sorry. I had to give you all this context.
All right, swallow that shit and fucking read me.
Yeah.
Read me something, man.
Decompress.
Give me something.
Take a
So-
breath.
This poem is Dirt and Gold.
Dirt and gold.
So it starts. Into the earth a worm digs, sitting laying down inside the brown, fertile dirt, relaxing, most likely wanting to be lazy. I agree, sliding through as nothing to the rest of the world. I am my father, rags to riches in a sense, equipped with skill and knowledge more than a scholar. When loaded on Adderall, his mind works quick, works with his hands until they are stained black and red, and cuts crafted along his jagged skin. All the while I look to myself in misfortune, for I am misfortunate to not learn the skills. I am misfortunate to not carry his legacy. I am unfortunate that I messed up. My father does not think of me like this. He sees the potential in me to be the best of me, the best I can be. I want to be the best I am. I am not misfortunate. I am who I am. He is my father, my mentor, my friend. All the while, I thought I was just a worm in this world. And that's it.
Very good.
So, oh my god! Yeah. I wish I had the button. I really wish I kept that button.
Next
on.
time.
You
Next
get the
time.
golf. You get the golf.
Actually, you can just edit that in.
The golf class.
Oh yes, we are artists.
There you
Let's
go.
Artist,
snap,
let's snap.
Edit
Snap.
that in there, Mike.
So
snap it out.
yeah, so that was the first poem I read ever at like an open mic and stuff.
So what do you think about that?
What? Jesus.
Thoughts.
Yeah, it's man. You put me on.
And listen, go crazy because this.
Can I look at it?
Yeah. I'm so
pull it up.
detached. I'm now so detached from these poems that anything that you say does not matter.
Oh, good.
Like, I mean, well, it matters.
He said,
to
"Oh,
learn.
good."
Fucking horseshit.
It matters to learn, but it doesn't matter to me to like be hurt by what you say if you critique in
Oh,
any way.
geez.
Which,
That's a lot.
What's that? So tell the audience.
Wanting to be lazy, I agree. Sliding through as nothing to the rest of the world, I am. I like that a lot. I like that.
She likes that.
Yeah.
She likes that.
That's good.
Me, I don't give a fuck. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
yeah, no, that's
You're more the expert here,
listen.
man. Give it to him.
Oh,
You're more of
geez.
an expert than I am.
Oh,
Let's say that.
I don't know if there is such thing as a poetry expert.
Yeah, no.
I don't think there's such a thing. It's really just you write what you're feeling. You try to put an interesting spin on it lyrically, so that people want to hear it. Is really all that poetry is.
Yeah.
You know, you can drone on in front of a microphone. Nobody wants to hear that shit. But if you can punch words together and make them interesting, attractive to the ear, attractive to the synapses, then you got something.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. It's fucking poetry. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So
I like just from speaking with you now and hearing certain things that you've said, like the bottom here.
I'm fucking reading.
Well, you know, I'm the one with the bachelor's
He
degree.
asked me to do a fucking job. What's my critique? Cool.
I want to be the best that I am. I am not misfortunate. I am who I am. That, just from hearing you speak, I can understand how much growth is important to you, from both of you, really. Yeah, I like when poets, you can call yourself a poet or not, you know, it's subjective. But I like
You wrote a poem, you're a poet. It's good.
I like when poets you know, I love prose and I love the dark, you know, fiction that he writes, but I like when a poet reveals a little bit about themselves without it feeling like heavy-handed or like oversharing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like you can't be vulnerable and open yourself up and say certain things that, you know, maybe ugly or dark, you know.
Yeah.
But I find when you say less, it just
Right. No, I was just talking to her about
it says
that
more,
the
you
other
know.
day about minimalism in writing and brevity.
Yeah.
Uh,
You didn't say like, oh, I never amounted to anything. My daddy doesn't think like he, you know, you didn't like write it like that. It's written very like eloquently, to the point, succinct, but also like with feeling.
Yeah,
Very
my
good.
takeaway from this is I think it's a great piece. I think it's very succinct. I think it says what it's trying to say in a very concise but also artistic way.
Organic.
I think your rhythms are really cool in here. Actually, I don't just think they're good. I think they're really cool. I like the rhythms in here a lot. Yeah,
It's not like overly rhymey either, you know.
Yeah.
Like I rhyme done well is
Yeah.
impactful, but when it's like, it's all right.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Damien about that the last time he was on here. I was talking about like how, because like rhyming in its basic form has been so overdone that I feel like if you wanted to rhyme, you have to make it complicated. You have to do like some sort of rhyme scheme.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can do it, and you can.
If you wanted to do it, you'd have to make it interesting, because then people can then, like, or you were saying, like if it hits the ear in a specific way and hits the brain, like and it works and it flows well, then it works. And yeah, Damien thought the same, but I honestly actually have not touched that since
I think
that
it's a
day.
great piece.
I don't think
it's
you
a
need
great
to.
Piece. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the way
I,
that you read it, and I also I think the rhythm's really great. And as Kate was doing, she's pointing out some really provocative pieces of what you have there. Some of the lines are very thought provoking, very interesting. I think you got something. I think you should do more writing.
Maybe read
You
it.
just told me you're not fucking writing anything. Fucking write some shit, man.
Yeah.
Fucking do it.
Or
No,
at least
I- 'cause,
maybe
like, I
consider
have-
reading, and then maybe it'll inspire some things.
Because I have so much like back cataloged poems from then, because it kept me awake.
Yeah.
And all of this was written like in the middle of the night, like when my brain is either, you know, going crazy, or it's just something to will myself into staying awake. And so like I never edited any of the stuff. I just would, when I would go to these to the poetry, like to the open mics and stuff, like I would just read it unedited, unworked on. It was just I wrote it down and then I just went out and did it, and I didn't really care if people thought it was like if it was sloppy or something, because like I was just like, yeah, it's just, I just wrote it, here we go. If you don't like it, if you have something to critique, please, I'll edit it then.
Workshop
But,
it. Yeah.
workshop
Where's your
it.
fucking poem, man?
See, this guy is more of like the movie guy. Because before I did a lot of the poetry stuff, him and we actually wrote a lot of like different stories. We wrote a lot of like fiction or like movie narratives. Like we have like 3.
I'm more of an actor, I would say.
Yeah, we have like three. We had like a YouTube series that we wanted to do, like a narrative.
We've
YouTube
written
series.
a lot of things. Yeah, I
You're
wrote a
saying
whole.
3 a lot.
Yeah, 3.
Three
If I-
whole things.
Yeah, if I could name them, I would.
Yeah,
But-
me and a friend and I a while ago, we wrote a whole movie script. Actually, it's in the Google Docs. It was about a bunch of
It's a horror movie.
guy. It was a horror movie. A bunch of guys got kidnapped in the
Yeah.
basement by somebody who wanted revenge on one of the kids' dads. It was adult, like teenagers.
Careful, somebody might take it.
I was gonna say, be careful you put that shit out in the others, and all of a sudden you're fucking.
I'm watching you guys
Be
copyright
vague,
infringement.
be vague.
Familiar screenplay pops up on a fucking
Right, right.
Weinstein desk, and shit's going where
It's
it's
very
going.
true. It's
And
very
then-
true. Well, we
Then
wrote a
years
very
later-
good story. Yeah.
Years later, they brought me on, and then I made it so much more darker.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
I've written movie scripts in the past, and they're all on the Google Docs. We still have them saved. You know, possibilities are endless. I'm very optimistic and opportunistic is the word. And
Sure.
To do stuff with that. So we do have stuff in the back burner.
I've been
waiting to
writing
be-
some stuff like that myself. Maybe we could collaborate. Maybe come up with something.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Good add to. So we have a couple. I added a couple plot twists in there that made the story more interesting. So I won't say that. So no one can possibly take that. They ain't ready for
some
that.
of it close
Yeah, they
to the
ain't ready
chest,
for that.
yeah.
But we wrote a
It
couple.
was
of
Bruce
interesting-
Willis the whole time.
Yeah, we wrote a whole thing. It was like a fictionalized versions of our lives and how we met. So we did some old films. We could show you that after this.
Sure.
And we had a whole thing filmed and we put up some of it on YouTube. You can see old because we used to also fight. We did like a fight club in our friend's basement.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
so some of the
Did you
old
really?
fights when I was like more like fatter, or actually on YouTube right now.
assholes.
So there's old fights of me on YouTube right now, and on one video I'm getting slammed on the ground. You can hear the back boom on the ground. It's pretty intense.
Nice.
So we used to do like a fight club, and we do it rounds. It was pretty much just
I was gonna say,
wrestling.
there's no way your head is naturally shaped that way.
No, I've been through I've been through my own kind of trauma, right? I've been through my own stuff. So we've always
fucking around. I'm fucking
we've always been into different forms of art. So a lot of it has just been stuff with filming, which in a way led us to this, right? So
Yeah.
that's why Mike is more the tech guy, and I show up and I look good, and I come up with some idea.
Is that what you tell yourself?
We have
so kind of, yeah.
and we have another friend that him and I would, and actually and him, like separately, we would all write. So like this friend that we're talking about, his name is John. Him and I would stay up like every night in the summer of 2012.
He and I.
Yeah. He and I would write a series. We were supposed to record it for YouTube, but we just kept writing it and we just never recorded it. And it was like
It's also very hard to film.
It was also like during the time of like during when the zombie zeitgeist was going.
Right.
It was during that time that and we wrote an entire. It was supposed to be how we planned it out. It was supposed to be like 12 seasons of this, and it was very long. It was honestly fun to write, but it was crazy. Like the stuff that would happen initially when we were first writing it. A lot of the stuff in the middle was boring, but like when it got to the good stuff, the shit was insane. And when we finished and like we never did anything with it, we started like fixing it up and stuff, and we wanted to make it a comic book because it'd be cool because like you're not going to record it, like the best thing to do with it because it's very descriptive and like because there's a lot of action sequences and stuff, it would be cool to see it as a comic book. And so we wanted to do that for a long time, but we haven't done anything technically with it yet. I want to personally, but there's a lot of other moving pieces with it that need to be fixed because it was when we wanted to do the recording, there was like 12 of us.
Yeah,
and
we
so
had
there
a
was
lot
like
of people.
the main cast, the main protagonist, used to say, there was
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 people, and then you had villains there was like 3 or 4 villains, and so those villains, one of them now is actually a musician and uses the same name as the character, and so that is an issue. And as long and if he doesn't want to be technically a villain
Connected to
to it, even though because he was part of the thing, he was part of the creative process too, and everything like that. He was part of the filming process that we ended up not doing. He was part of it with us, and he loves that story, and so it really depends on what he wants to do as well. Because I could just change his name and just be done with it, but like there was all of us in it, and we were all part of at least like wanting to do the recording process, and then there was me and my friend John that we were part of the writing process.
Right.
And then John was with him with that movie script that he was talking about, and then the 3 of us wrote the story about pretty much how we met, but like over exaggerated.
Yeah, it's like drug
everything.
dealers and the neighborhood.
Pretty much like
pretty
much like
violence,
hometown gangs, drug dealers, and like dealing and having
California, 1992. Yeah,
It's a good
pretty
year.
much having like I wouldn't say mental issues. It was more of just like us going crazy, like us becoming crazy because of the things that were happening within the story.
yeah, but it was basically like how teenagers would deal with their specific traumas, and then these obstacles would come out of nowhere, and they would get themselves into some trouble, and then they had to figure out a way how to solve it without getting the police involved. Because if the bad guy found out that we were getting the police involved, they would find out how to harm us in different ways, and it would be it would be like a mystery kind of thing, but also be some violence, and there'd be some intrigue to it. So we had a lot of good ideas, still do, so that's to be.
Sounds like you just need a really good videographer.
yeah, we
And
would
also
film a
people
lot.
to actually do it. with
Right,
us.
right, right.
Actors.
Actors, some actors.
Yeah, a lot of
Actual
people,
actors.
because people have crazy lives and it's hard to get people together for certain events, and because we had to get like 12 people to act at the same day, so we would schedule filming days after school, after high school. We would use our video teacher would let us use the room and like the outside of the high school that we went to
Right.
film some of the stuff. But the time is the greatest enemy, and also the greatest thing. So you have to be careful what you do with your time, getting everybody together. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, we need the actors, and there's so many things that play into it, and all the
Right.
time
Absolutely,
schedule. So
absolutely, yeah.
getting people together to do certain things is more tougher than
No,
you
it's-
realize. Everything you see on TV that took a lot of time,
No,
took a
it's
lot
a
of work,
huge
and
project.
it was
Commitment.
tough.
It's
And then
a
here goes the
huge
movie critics
project.
like, you ain't guys saying this movie sucks.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
damn,
yeah.
we put so many hours into this,
Yeah.
and now we're just getting hate for it.
It's huge,
But that's
it's huge.
part of the game. So
Yeah.
No, it's always
Right.
a huge project for those types of things.
a lot of people can't handle
I
criticism.
got a friend of mine. Her name is Jesslyn Blue. She is out there in that world right now in the New York actor scene. She's SAG certified. She's doing the thing, and she's always posting her behind the scenes, makeup tests and all that on Instagram. And she's doing great. I'm very proud of her, and I'm impressed that she got there. But yeah, like I got a little insight into what that world is. And it's a lot of work to have all those, to get everything just configured just right to shoot that fucking scene. Takes so much fucking time. And I also my buddy Michael, I mentioned Michael Pasquarelli before. His cousin Steve was a production assistant for MTV and other things
that's
like
really
that
cool.
for a while. And he was doing some stuff with like B movies, things like that. He worked with like Christian Slater, worked with
Oh wow.
Steven Dorff. Apparently Steven Dorff is a dick, and Christian Slater was great because when they went over time and they needed more time to do the whole fucking thing, Christian Slater ordered everybody pizza.
Yeah.
It was like, get these guys some fucking food. So he ordered like fucking a dozen or more pizzas for the crew and everything. When Steven Dorff was supposed to go overtime, he just fucking walked off after they spent hours setting
Oh
up
my
the
gosh.
scene. He was like, nope, I'm leaving.
Sounds like Marlon Brando.
That's my time. You just spent 6 hours setting this up.
That's how Marlon
But
Brando
my
was when
time
he
is
would work
over,
in
I'm
movies.
fucking walking
Yeah.
away.
Same thing with Marlon Brando back in the day. He would always give hissy fits on set, and they would have to like, come on. Let's do it."
Yeah, I think Marlon Brando was kind of crazy.
He was losing
A
his
little
mind
bit.
towards the end of his
I
life.
think Marlon Brando was out as fucking.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, the craziest people bring out the best art sometimes.
No,
so
sure,
I mean,
sure.
can't deny that. So he may have
That's
had
it.
his.
That's the
he-
truth.
He may have had his fault, but the dude brought out the greatest in cinema, right? So I mean,
No, that's
I
what
guess
I'm
there's
saying.
something to
I'm
that.
saying it in a positive way. I think Marlon Brando in his youth,
He's out of his mind, of course,
wouldn't
but
have acted like that.
it was hard
It
for
wasn't until he got older and started like shit started slipping off that he started acting that way and started becoming problematic.
people
on
would kill to
set.
have him in a movie, but to get him on the movie was so much work that he convinced him, and he would give so much shit.
Sure.
It'd be rough.
Brando is one of the best of all time. Absolutely. I've always when I do these shows, I'm usually performing. I'm not usually reading. I'm usually performing. Especially in my younger days, I was on like a hiatus where I wasn't really doing anything for a while. So like in this new stuff, where like when you guys saw me at the show, and the recent shows I've been doing, I have been reliant on the page in front of me. But when I was younger and coming up and really attacking the whole idea of doing performance poetry, there was rarely a page in front of me. Rarely. Unless I had something very new that I was very excited about. So I was like, I just can't fucking not do this tonight because I'm so fucking thrilled about it. It was usually just me. I would tear the mic off the stand and prowl across the stage like a lion. Like I'm about to fucking.
That's how you gotta do it.
And I would just fucking take them down. It was great, and I loved it. And I'm trying to get back to that. Because I'm performing
there.
a lot more often, and that's what I want to do. I want to get back to that. But no, lately, because you have to take your strides and get to where you want to be over time. Yeah, I do have my nose pointed at the book or the notebook or something. More than I ever used to. But the agenda is to get me back to a place where like I can do like a 6-piece set without even looking at a piece of paper.
It's possible. get there. It
No,
takes time. Takes.
I was
consistency.
there. I can definitely get back there.
Of course.
And
Muscle memory, right?
I don't want to say exactly what because it's not set in stone. But like, there's potentially a huge project with me and Rucci in the spring. Damian Rucci. That we're gonna be doing. It seems like it's definitely gonna happen, but until I see him, because he's on tour right now, he's not here to affirm or deflect anything. I don't want to say anything about that, but
teaser.
Good things coming.
Yeah,
potentially
good things,
we
yes.
have a really cool project coming up that we're gonna be doing together, and I'm kind of trying to make sure I'm honing my performance abilities so that I'm doing the best job every time. Every time I'm on the stage, I want to entertain. Like that's the thing that me and Rucci have in the bond of poetry, is we both understand that we're trying to entertain the audience. It's not about giving the artist a chance to jerk themselves off about their childhood trauma or fucking piss and moan about life.
Oversharing. Yeah.
You wanna entertain the audience. We're trying to create something that's entertaining, not something that's that's masturbatory to the performer. There's plenty of that. You can go to any mic and fucking do that shit. You can go to any fucking open mic throughout the country and you can fucking whine and pine about what happened and what went wrong and why you're where you are in the fucking world. If you want to make people laugh, you want to make people cry, but because in a way that they appreciate it, you want to hit somebody in the fucking chest with something and they thank you for it afterward. That's what I'm trying to do every time I hit the stage, whether I'm making you laugh or making you think or I'm just giving you like a visceral reaction to something. I want you to be happy that I was on that microphone when I get off of it. Like, I want you to think like that was a great use of my time to watch that fucking dude do what he did. That's awesome. That's what I'm trying to do every time. And I think me and Rucci have that in common. That's why we bond so well.
Exactly. We're going to wrap this up in a few, but I do want to hear another one of your good poems you got in that book because
okay.
Give us something really good.
Okay. So what I'll give you is what many people would consider the Josh Fink greatest hit. I've talked through the podcast about how I've experimented with rhyme and stuff, but I really didn't deliver on that. I just kind of talked about. So we're going to do this now. So this is a poem called Critical Conditions. It is for many years been like the highlight piece. So we're gonna try to do this. I've got some whiskey in my system now, so if I flub it, we're gonna have to stop and edit and start me over again. But we're gonna give it a whirl. I'm gonna get some water.
Try not to tap on the table while you're reading.
I will not tap on the table, darling. Thank you very much. All right, Critical Conditions, everybody. Also known by those who never heard the title, the 7 poem. I used to get that a lot. You gonna do the 7 poem? Like the 7 poem? Yeah, it's the 7 poem. Anyway, here we go. 7 horses are coming with 7 angry gents. $700 a week, and they call that shit low rent. 7 drinks for 1 week's pay, and my check's already spent. And 7 kids in my sister's high school gave up life for Lent. The world's bent up, twisted backwards, and shackled to a wall. So smile while you're being fisted or tackled in a brawl. Call it a small token of gratitude from the faculty in charge. It's like you're playing poker and losing money with all the best cards. Someday everyone will suffer for the shit they disregard. You'll eat your glass words, you'll be choking on the shards. Because the secrets to this life are bandits, and yes, they're still at large. I got 7 scars from sacred memories stomping in my head. 7 doors to 7 dungeons where men have starved and bled. 7 nights you try to sleep with razors in your bed. And 7 blows to the brain from the vicious wolves you fed. Man, we sped through the lessons, the confessions of the dead. We said we'd leave impressions, but we're silhouettes instead. We slept through brainstorm sessions, now we're dangling from a thread. We're battling depression from the useless lives we've led. So, the best that I can do, I can catch you in a think trap. Call it what you want. It's either poetry or shrink wrap. I'm not saying you can't smoke shit or that you shouldn't drink crap. I'm saying life's a chain and pain comes when a link snaps. So I want 7 prayers for 7 sins, each one separate deadly. 7 mints to kill a taste of the bullshit daddy fed me. 7 chances for the answers to why he had to shed me. 7 years to love me, 7 to regret me. 7 screams and 7 tears to beg someone to pet me. 7 shouts into the air, won't someone come and get me? 7 seconds left, you haven't loved me since you met me. But I'm not going nowhere, I'm still laying where you set me. But I could be a miracle if you just fucking let me.
That was incredible.
That was fucking awesome.
Cheers.
I'm in.
Cheers to that.
I have no
Cheers to
more,
that.
but-
That's okay.
that
Empty
was-
cheers is good. Empty cheers is good.
Jesus,
You get it right here. You get the All Gains exclusive. This
That's
guy
it,
did
that's
not
it.
read that from a paper. It came from the mind, the all-powerful mind that we talk about on this channel all the time. That's incapable of doing many things, and that is one of them. When a person is very passionate about their art, they will make it their goal to memorize that entire thing and be able to say it without stuttering, with going with the flow, and able to doing that with no problem. Seems like you read that from some kind of script in front of you, but you didn't. It came from everything that's already built inside you, and that is the potential. I think that you've been talking about this whole time. That's the thing that's in you that motivates you to keep going. That's where it all comes from. It comes from that place, and then you let it out.
Yeah.
And then the world could recognize that, and then so when you get on the stage, the lights turn on, and it's like that's the legacy that you left behind, right?
No, that's what I mean. Like I don't want to be the guy who fumbles through a notebook and hems and haws into the microphone. I always wanted to be performing. I always wanted to be performative. I wanted the audience to react to what I was doing, not just what I was saying or I mean, even in a lot of ways, if you take a stage that way where you're just sort of reading out of the book, you lose a lot. There's so much there for you to experience. You explore your space, explore the sound of the room, explore the look of the crowd, the way when make eye contact with somebody and fucking hit a fucking punchy line, and you'll watch their fucking heart fucking melt, and I fucking love it. Like I said, I'm trying to get back to it. I'm getting there. But I used to work 100% paperless. I would just whip up the fucking mic and just start prowling. I would prowl the audience like a lion ready to fucking attack, and I just start going. And by the end of the set, like I'd get off stage and people would thank me. Like, thank you for doing that. Like, that's a weird thing to say, but all right. All right. Cool. Thank you for doing this with me. And that was actually a thing that I started doing in later shows before I had my brief hiatus. I would always thank them at the end, but thank you for doing this with me. Because like I didn't just perform this. Like you worked with me. We worked together on this.
Damn right.
My performance was very much levied on your reaction to the things I was saying, your presence in the moment, and the way that you behaved while I was doing it. So we did this together.
Damn right.
Yeah.
So where can people find your work, and how can they get a hold of that?
Oh, all right. So the Bones of Madness. Let me show it to the camera.
Link in the description, everyone.
One more time. Boom. There's the Bones of Madness.
Link in the description.
All right. So right now it's available on Amazon. Yeah, it's available on Amazon. It's available to any of my shows. I always bring copies with me. I'm ordering more copies, so I'll have more. And yeah, if you want to come out and check out my performances, here's some more stuff like Critical Conditions, the 7 poem. I always do something pretty punchy whenever I'm out there. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I always post the flyers that Mr. Rushi creates when I'm featuring, or if I'm going to be involved. I usually let everybody know so that everybody can come out and be a part of it.
Absolutely. What can people find your work, and how can they get in touch with you if we're hearing that?
You can't find my work. My work is usually commission based, but you can find me making sure this guy isn't murdering anyone at the shows. I'm gonna speak with Damien when he comes back. I think we have a lot to talk about where this scene is going, so you might catch me being a little bit more involved in some of these poetry open mics and hopefully some events that we can work with some of the other people in the community to cultivate.
Absolutely.
Maybe even annual things. There's a lot that can come from this scene, and there is room for everyone at the table, provided you are willing to devote your time and energy. This could really take off for some of these artists, some of these performers who otherwise, would just be lost in a mic in some bar somewhere. These tours are really important. Buying these people's books are really important. So you'll find me at the shows. I'm Backwards Dracula on Instagram if you want to follow me. I take commissions. I'm usually painting people's silly dogs for them for, special events. But the last piece that I'll send you the photo of so you can share it with your audience. The last piece that I made, the last commission, was for a mental health clinic out in North Dakota.
It was a beautiful piece.
It's I'll show you when we finish up here, but it's a landscape, and it was meant to kind of invoke this feeling of everybody has a mental health journey that they're working through. No one is more prepared for that journey than anyone else, and figuring out your place in the world is a unique experience, but the journey is what's important. The attempt to better yourself, to find your people, to connect with them, and to feel some sense of purpose. That's what that piece means, is just understanding that maybe things aren't perfect, maybe things aren't the way that they want to be, maybe you didn't get the hand that you wanted, maybe it wasn't dealt to you in the easiest of ways, but it is what you make it, and you're meant to be here, and you're meant to carry yourself through no matter how hard or easy your life is. Everybody has a journey, and that's what the piece means. That one has a meaning. I don't think they need to have meanings.
It's a really great piece. I was
meaning.
awestruck.
We'll have it up.
as
I'll have
she-
it up on the screen.
Mike, show them what we got.
It's gonna have a really ugly watermark on it, but there's a lot of this AI discussion going on about art being stolen. So forgive the watermark, but
Protect your shit.
protect your neck
Legit.
and your wallet. But you can find me at these shows. You can find me at Backwards Dracula on Instagram. I also might stream someday if I ever
She does commissions and
get into it.
I've seen her do some really great stuff for people. I actually watched her get to deliver one of the commissions she did recently on Christmas Eve, and the whole family was a thing for their dog, and she did this great painting of the dog.
I'll send that to you as
Absolutely.
well.
And
Yeah.
the whole family was just over the moon about it. They were like they're jumping around dancing like, "Hey, have you seen this? She made it." And they're just in this, you made this?
Yeah.
You made this? Like,
And then the
"Oh,
dog's
yeah,
running
she made
around
it."
like, "Hey, that's me."
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, it's
Cool.
I don't have a website. I'm definitely,
It's all good.
I'm working on some new stuff for the new year. I'm hoping to have a gallery showing, if not this year, maybe the next. We'll see what
Sounds good.
what's
Sounds
to come.
Good. This podcast was sponsored by us. All Gains. You can find us we have a Teespring link in the link in the description below. And
Yeah,
you
that
can-
beanie's really nice. Keeps you
can,
warm. It's
get
January.
a whole bunch of
right?
stuff.
So-
It's the wintertime. We got some beanies. We got some hoodies. Got some T-shirts. Definitely go down there if you want to support us and the channel and everything.
Yeah,
Definitely
if
go
anyone,
down there and
any
support
new
us.
people watching this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on the video, comment your thoughts below, and the discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed. Guys, it was fucking awesome having you guys on.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank
for
you
coming
for
on.
having
conversation.
us.
Thanks for the cinnamon whiskey and
We're the best
Thank you
hosts
for
in America.
tolerating my
and the
crazy
great
boyfriend.
discussion.
Best hosts in New Jersey.
Stop it! Dude. I put it in the title so they all would know.
Alright,
Bones
guys.
of Madness. You know where this is. You know
All
what
right,
this is.
guys. With that said, we're going to see you guys in the next podcast or video. Stay tuned for more. Like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.